She had a child with an Arab sheikh, but when her parents found out, everything changed. Melissa held little Aiden's hand tightly as she walked toward her parents' house. Her heart pounded unevenly in her chest. After 7 years of keeping the secret, the inevitable moment of truth had arrived. "Mommy, why are you shaking?" Aiden asked, looking up at her with his big dark eyes. Melissa swallowed hard. How could she explain to a 7-year-old boy that she had lied to her entire family all this time? How could she tell him his father wasn't just an American who had gone abroad, as she'd always claimed? "It's okay, sweetheart. I'm just a little nervous for you to get to know your grandparents better." The door opened before she even rang the bell. Margaret appeared, her beige scarf neatly arranged on her head, her smile fading when she saw the tension on her daughter's face. "Melissa, what's wrong? You look pale." Richard appeared behind his wife, wearing his favorite blue shirt. The 58-year-old man frowned as he noticed the seriousness in his daughter's expression. "Dad, Mom, I need to talk to you. It's about Aiden." The boy waved shyly at his grandparents, adjusting his white thobe that Melissa had bought especially for this day. She knew she had to set the stage, subtly showing the boy's connection to his true heritage before revealing the whole truth. Come in," Margaret said, eyeing her grandson's unusual outfit. "Aiden, what a beautiful outfit is this?" "It's a thobe, Grandma. Mommy said it's special." Richard closed the door behind them, the familiar living room contrasting. With the tension in the air, the light wooden shelves displayed family photos, all carefully chosen to avoid raising suspicions about Aiden's father's true identity. "Sit down, please," Melissa said, her voice weaker than she intended. "Honey, you're worrying me," Margaret said, settling onto the beige sofa. "What's going on?" Melissa glanced at Aiden, who was distractedly playing with a small object he'd brought in his pocket. It was a gift from his father years ago, something his grandparents knew nothing about. "There's something you need to know about Aiden's father. Something I never told you." Richard leaned forward, his expression stern. "Melissa, you always said he was a local guy who went abroad to study and didn't want to take responsibility." I lied. The silence that followed was deafening. Margaret pressed a hand to her chest while Richard clenched his fists. "What do you mean you lied?" Richard's voice was controlled, but Melissa recognized the tone. It was the same one he used when he was furious. "Aiden's father isn't American, he's Arab." "Arab?" Margaret repeated the word, as if it were something immeasurable. "More than that." Melissa took a deep breath, knowing there was no turning back. "He's from the royal family of an emirate. Aiden is the grandson of a sheikh." Richard stood abruptly, pacing the room. Margaret remained still, processing the information. "Is this some kind of joke, Melissa?" Richard asked, stopping in front of his daughter. "No, Dad. It's the truth. That's why Aiden is dressed like this today. That's why so many things about him never made sense to you." "Mommy, what's a sheikh?" Aiden asked innocently, making everyone turn to him. Melissa knelt in front of her son, holding his small hands. "A sheikh is like a prince, sweetheart. And your daddy is the son of a prince." Aiden's eyes widened. "So I'm a prince too?" "In a way, yes," Richard exploded. "This is ridiculous. Melissa, are you saying my grandson is... He's our grandson, Richard." Margaret interrupted softly but firmly. "No matter who his father is. Margaret, you don't understand how serious this is." "I understand perfectly. Our daughter lied to us for 7 years. Our grandson has a heritage we knew nothing about, and apparently there's an entire family on the other side of the world who doesn't even know he exists." Melissa shook her head. "Actually, they do know, and that's why I need your help." What came next would change everything. Melissa revealed that Khalid, Aiden's father, had returned to the United States. Not only that, he wanted to take their son to meet the royal family in the Middle East. "He can't do that!" Richard slammed his fist on the coffee table. "This boy is American. Dad, he has rights." "What rights?" "Where was this man when Aiden was born? When he had a high fever at 2 years old, when he started talking and asking about his father?" Margaret, who had remained quiet, finally spoke. "Melissa, do you still have feelings for this man?" The question took everyone by surprise. Aiden looked from one adult to another, trying to understand the rising tension in the room. It's complicated, Mom. It's not complicated, Richard exploded again. Either you do or you don't. I loved him deeply. I still feel something for him. And him, what does he feel for you? Margaret asked. He says he never forgot me, that he thought about me and Aiden all these years. Then why didn't he come sooner? Richard demanded. Because his family wouldn't allow it. When they found out I was pregnant, they forced him to return. He was made to marry his cousin. Married? Margaret stood abruptly. He's married. Yes, but there's no but, Melissa. The man is married, and now he wants to take our grandson to another country. Aiden began to cry softly, frightened by the adults' raised voices. Melissa pulled him into her lap, trying to comfort him. Is Grandpa mad at me? The boy asked between sobs. Richard immediately softened, moving closer to his grandson. No, my prince. Grandpa isn't mad at you. I could never be. Then why are you shouting? Margaret joined them, stroking Aiden's hair. Sometimes adults argue when they're worried, sweetheart, but we all love you very much. Melissa felt a pang of guilt, seeing how her parents, despite their anger, immediately focused on protecting Aiden from any distress. When did this man arrive in the U.S.? Richard asked, keeping his voice low. 3 days ago. He's staying at the most luxurious hotel in the city. And what exactly does he want? To meet Aiden, introduce him to Arab culture, and take him so the family can meet their grandson. For how long? Margaret asked. He didn't specify. That's unacceptable, Richard said. No judge in the U.S. would allow a child to be taken to another country without guarantees of return. Dad, he's not talking about kidnapping Aiden. He wants to do things the right way. The right way would have been taking responsibility from the start. Margaret sat back down, looking older than her 55 years. Melissa, do you want Aiden to meet his father? I think he has the right to. And you? Do you want to see this man again? Melissa hesitated. The truth was her heart raced at the thought of seeing Khalid again. He had been the great love of her life, and 7 years apart hadn't dulled her feelings. Yes, I want to see him. Richard shook his head, clearly displeased. And how did you two meet? You never told us the real story. It was during my university exchange. Remember when I went to New York for that international communications course? Of course I remember. You were there for 6 months. That's where I met Khalid. He was studying business administration at the same university, on an exchange program. Aiden had stopped crying and was now listening intently, as if he could finally understand his own story better. He was different from all the boys I had ever met. Smart, polite, affectionate. He spoke perfect English. And did you know he was royalty? Margaret asked. At first, no. He only told me he came from an influential family. It was only after a few weeks that I found out the truth. And that didn't scare you. It scared me a lot, but I was already in love. Richard made a face of disgust. And when did you get pregnant? It was during the last month of the exchange program. By the time I found out, he had already gone back to the Emirate. Did you tell him? I tried, I called, I sent messages. He replied that his family had found out about me and that he was being forced to marry immediately. And you accepted? That? Richard asked, incredulous. What could I do, Dad? Go to the other side of the world and fight against a royal family? Margaret let out a deep sigh. And all these years you never stayed in touch. A few times he managed to send me messages through a mutual friend, always asking about Aiden, sending money when he could. Money? Richard stood up again. You took money from him? Yes. How do you think I managed to raise Aiden alone? My salary was never enough. Melissa, why didn't you tell us? We would have helped. Because I knew you'd want to know where the money came from, and I was afraid of how you'd react. With good reason, Richard muttered. Aiden, who had been quiet, finally spoke. Mommy, my dad sent us money. Yes, sweetheart. He always cared about you, even from afar. Why couldn't he come before? Melissa looked at her parents, searching for support to explain such a complicated situation to a child. Sometimes, love, families have very strict rules. Daddy had to follow his family's rules. And now he doesn't have to follow them anymore? Now he's older and can make his own decisions. Richard crossed his arms. And what about his wife? Does she know he came to the United States? I don't know, he didn't mention it. This is a very complicated situation, Melissa, Margaret said. If he's married, what exactly does he expect from you? He wants to be Aiden's father. He wants our son to know his roots. And you, what do you want? Before Melissa could answer, the doorbell rang. Everyone turned toward the door, tense. Did you schedule a meeting? Here, Richard asked. No, The doorbell rang again, more insistent this time. I'll see who it is. Richard headed to the door. Margaret held her daughter's arm. Melissa, if it's him, I don't know if I'm ready for this. Mom, I don't know either. Aiden jumped off his mother's lap and ran toward the door. Aiden, come back here, Melissa called, but it was too late. Richard had opened the door and was now face to face with a tall, elegantly dressed man with distinctly Arab features. The silence was broken by Aiden's sweet voice. Are you my daddy? Khalid slowly knelt, bringing himself to the boy's height. His eyes filled with tears as he saw his son for the first time. Yes, my little prince, I'm your daddy. Richard stepped back, allowing Khalid to enter. The 32-year-old man wore an impeccable suit, but his eyes were fixed only on Aiden. You're very handsome, Khalid said in heavily accented English, just like your mother. It was then that he looked up and saw Melissa. Time seemed to stop. Even after 7 years, the chemistry between them was palpable. Melissa, he said softly. Khalid. Margaret cleared her throat, breaking the moment. Sir, excuse me, what's your full name? Khalid bin Ahmed Al-Mansour. It's a pleasure to meet you all. Richard remained standing, clearly, uncomfortable. Mr. Al-Mansour, my daughter told us about your situation. I imagine so, and I completely understand your concern. Daddy, did you bring gifts? Aiden asked innocently. Khalid smiled, the first genuine smile since he'd arrived. Yes, I did, but they're at the hotel. Next time we meet, I'll bring them. Next time? Richard questioned. Yes. I hope you'll allow me to get to know my son better. That depends on many things, Margaret said firmly. Khalid nodded respectfully. Of course. I know my presence is a surprise. I know you have reasons to distrust me. It's not distrust, Richard lied partially. It's protection. Aiden is our grandson. And my son. A son whose first 7 years of life I missed. The tension in the room was palpable. Aiden looked from one adult to another, clearly sensing something important was happening, but not fully understanding. Why didn't you come before? Margaret asked directly. Khalid took a deep breath. Because my family wouldn't allow it. When they found out Melissa was pregnant, they forced me to return immediately and married me to my cousin. And now, has the family changed their mind? Not exactly. Now I have more autonomy. I can make certain decisions on my own. Even though you're married, Richard asked accusingly. My marriage is complicated. It was arranged, not for love. Melissa, who had remained silent, finally spoke. Khalid, you should have warned us you were coming. I know, but I was afraid you'd refuse to see me. And why would I do that? Because you have every right to be angry with me. Aiden, sensing the conversation was getting too serious for him, began playing with a small toy car he'd brought in his pocket. We want to know what your intentions are, Margaret said. I want to know my son. I want him to know his Arab roots and... He looked at Melissa. I want to correct the mistakes of the past. What mistakes? Richard asked. Not fighting for Melissa when I had the chance. Not coming sooner to meet Aiden. And how do you plan to correct that now? I'm prepared to make decisions I couldn't make 7 years ago. The answer was vague but loaded, with meaning. Melissa felt her heart race. Was he implying he'd leave his wife? Khalid, you can't just show up and want to change our whole lives, she said. I don't want to change your life, Melissa. I want to be part of it. Richard shook his head. Mr. Al-Mansour, with all due respect, you're married. You have responsibilities in your country. How can you be part of my daughter and grandson's life? I'm willing to give up many things to be close to my son, including your marriage. Khalid hesitated for a moment. If necessary, yes. The silence that followed was broken by Aiden. "Daddy, are you going to live here with us?" Khalid looked at his son with a mix of love and sadness. "I'd love that, my prince, but it's complicated." "Why is it complicated?" Aiden asked with typical childlike simplicity. "Because Daddy has a life in another country, far from here." "Then you can take us there." Aiden's innocent suggestion caused an immediate stir among the adults. "That's out of the question," Richard said immediately. "Aiden, you can't leave the United States," Margaret added. "Why not?" the boy asked, confused. Melissa knelt beside her son. "Because your life is here, sweetheart. Your grandparents are here, your friends, your school. But what if I want to meet Daddy's family?" Khalid crouched down too, meeting his son's eye level. "Would you like to meet your other grandparents, Aiden?" "Do you have a mom and dad?" "Two. Yes, I do, and they'd love to meet you." Richard intervened quickly. "Mr. Al-Mansour, I think it's best not to put ideas in the child's head." "I'm not putting ideas in his head. I'm talking about his family." "His family is here," Margaret said firmly. "Part of his family is here," Khalid corrected, "but he has another half that loves him too." "How can they love someone they've never met?" Richard questioned. "The same way you loved him before he was born. Love doesn't depend on physical presence." Khalid's answer left Richard momentarily speechless. "Khalid," Melissa interjected, "you're confusing Aiden. He's too young to understand these things. Maybe you're the ones underestimating his ability to understand." Aiden looked from one to the other, clearly trying to process everything. "Mom, can I have two families?" The boy's simple, direct question touched everyone present. "Of course. You can, sweetheart," Melissa replied, swallowing her emotions. "And can they be friends?" "That would be ideal," Khalid said, looking meaningfully at Richard and Margaret. Richard sighed deeply. "Mr. Al-Mansour, please understand our position. For 7 years, we were the ones here. We took care of Aiden when he was sick, comforted him when he cried, celebrated his achievements. And I'm grateful for that. More grateful than you can imagine. Then understand that it's not easy for us to accept your sudden presence in our lives. I understand perfectly, but I also hope you understand that I've missed 7 years of my son's life. 7 years I'll never get back." Margaret, who had been silently observing the exchange, finally spoke. "What exactly do you want?" "From us, Khalid. I want a chance to get to know Aiden, to be the father I've always wanted to be, a chance to show him his Arab heritage. And Melissa? What do you want from her?" Khalid looked deeply into Melissa's eyes before answering. "I want a second chance with her too, if she'll allow it." Melissa felt her cheeks flush. Even after all these years, Khalid still had the power to stir her emotions. "Khalid, this is very complicated." "I know it is, but some feelings are stronger than complications." Richard stood abruptly. "I think that's enough for today. We need time to process all this." Khalid took the hint and rose as well. "Of course, but before I go..." He turned to Aiden. "Would you like to have lunch with me tomorrow, little prince?" Aiden looked at his mother for permission. "I don't know if that's a good idea," Melissa said. "Please, Mom. I want to get to know Dad better." Her son's earnest request left Melissa torn. Part of her wanted to protect him from possible disappointment, but she also knew he had the right to know his father. Maybe I could come too." "That would be perfect," Khalid said, smiling. Richard didn't seem pleased with the decision, but said nothing in front of Aiden. "Where are you staying?" Margaret asked. "At the Grand Plaza Hotel downtown." "That's an expensive hotel," Richard remarked. "My family has means," Khalid replied simply. "And how long do you plan to stay in the United States?" "That depends on many things." The vague answer irritated Richard, but he held back. "Well, I think you should go now. Like I said, we need time to process this." Khalid nodded and turned to Aiden again. "It was wonderful meeting you, my son. I can't wait to spend more time together." "I'm excited too, Dad." The word Dad from Aiden's lips visibly moved Khalid. "See you tomorrow then. How about meeting at noon?" "That works," Melissa agreed. After Khalid left, silence filled the room. Aiden had gone back to playing with his toy car, seemingly unaware of the tension lingering among the adults. "Melissa, are you sure you want to do this?" Margaret asked. "I'm not sure of anything, Mum, but I know Aiden has the right to know his father. And you? Do you still have feelings for this man?" Melissa took a moment to answer. "I never stopped loving him, Mum. Even knowing he was married, even knowing there was no future, I could never forget him." Richard huffed in irritation. "Melissa, you're a smart woman. How could you get involved with a married man?" "Because feelings don't follow logical rules, Dad. And because part of me always hoped he'd come back one day. And now that he's back, what do you plan to do?" "I don't know. I'll take things one step at a time." "What if he wants to take Aiden to his country?" "That won't happen." "How can you be so sure?" "Because I won't allow it." Aiden, who had pretended to be distracted, finally spoke up. "Mom, why doesn't Grandpa like Dad?" The question caught everyone off guard. Melissa looked at her father, pleading for help. "It's not that I don't like him, Aiden," Richard said, softening his voice. "It's just that I'm worried about you and your mom." "Worried about what?" "About changes. Sometimes changes can be hard. But changes can be good too, right?" "They can, my grandson. They can." Margaret pulled Aiden into her lap. "Aiden, no matter what happens, you know Grandpa and I will always love you very much, right?" "I know, Grandma. You're the best grandparents in the world." "And you're the best grandson in the world," she said, kissing his forehead. Melissa watched the scene with a heavy heart. She knew any decision she made would affect not just her life, but her parents, and most of all, Aiden's. "Mom, Dad, I know this is hard for you. It's hard for me, too." "We know, sweetheart," Margaret said. "We just want you to think carefully before making any decision. And not let yourself be led by emotion alone," Richard added. "I'll try to be rational, but I also need to listen to my heart." "And Aiden? He needs to be heard too," Margaret said. "Do you think he's handling this well?" "He's a child. To him, having a father is natural. What's not natural is all this tension between the adults." Richard sighed. "Melissa, I just want you to be careful. This man showed up out of nowhere after 7 years. He could disappear again." "I know, Dad, but I also know Aiden deserves a chance to know him. What if he gets attached and then Khalid leaves? Then we'll be here to help him through it." "Like you got through it?" Richard's question was direct and painful. Melissa took a few seconds to answer. "I never fully got over it, Dad. Part of me always stayed in those 6 months in New York. And now that he's back? Now I have to figure out if there's still a future for us or if it's just nostalgia." Aiden, still in Margaret's lap, yawned. "Looks like someone's sleepy," Margaret observed. "He is. It's been a very long day for him," Melissa said. "Why don't you stay for dinner?" Margaret suggested. "We can talk more after Aiden goes to bed." "Good idea," Richard agreed, sounding calmer. "Maybe so. Aiden, do you want to have dinner at Grandma and Grandpa's?" "Yes, Grandma makes the best pasta in the world." Margaret laughed, the first genuine smile since the conversation began. "Then we'll make the best pasta in the world for the best grandson in the world." As Margaret and Aiden headed to the kitchen, Richard held Melissa's arm. "Sweetheart, I need to ask you something." "Go ahead, Dad." "Are you sure this man is really who he says he is? Did you check if he's actually from the Arab royalty?" The question surprised Melissa. "Dad, I lived with him for 6 months. Of course I know who he is." "That was 7 years ago, Melissa. People change. They can lie." "Khalid isn't a liar." "How can you be so sure?" "Because I know him." "You knew him 7 years ago." Melissa grew thoughtful. Was her father right? Was she being naive? "Dad, what are you suggesting? That you be cautious? That you verify the information before letting Aiden get emotionally involved? And how would I do that?" "I don't know. But there must be a way." Melissa nodded slowly. "Maybe you're right. Maybe I should be more careful. It's just a precaution, my dear. To protect Aiden. And to protect me too? Mostly to protect you. You've already suffered once because of that man." Melissa knew her father was right. She had suffered deeply when Khalid left. She had spent months depressed, unable to focus on her studies or work. If it weren't for Aiden, she might not have recovered. Dad, I promise I'll take it slow. That's all I ask. From the kitchen came the cheerful voices of Margaret and Aiden. His grandmother was teaching him how to break the pasta, a tradition she had learned from her own mother. Grandma, like this? Aiden asked. That's right, sweetheart. Now put it in the boiling water. Melissa smiled at the tender interaction between mother and son. No matter what happened with Khalid, Aiden would always have the unconditional love of his maternal grandparents. You know, Dad, I'm scared too. Scared? Of what? Of falling in love again and him leaving. Of Aiden getting attached and then losing his father all over again. Those are valid fears, but I'm also afraid of missing a second chance at happiness. Richard placed a hand on his daughter's shoulder. Melissa, you deserve to be happy. You always have. We just want your happiness to be built on something solid, not illusions. How can I tell the difference? Time. Give it time. Don't rush into decisions. What if he doesn't have time? What if his family pressures him to go back? Then it wasn't meant to be. That's easy to say, Dad, harder to live with. I know, my dear, I know. Dinner went more smoothly than anyone expected. Aiden excitedly talked about school, his friends, and his favorite cartoons. Khalid had been delighted to discover how bright and articulate his son was for his age. After dinner, while Aiden watched TV in the living room, the adults gathered in the kitchen for a more serious conversation. Melissa, Margaret began, have you thought about how you'll explain all this to Aiden? I have, but it's too complicated for a 7-year-old to understand. Maybe it's best to simplify, Richard suggested. Just tell him his father lived far away and can visit him now. But what if Aiden asks why he didn't come before? You can say sometimes adults have problems that keep them from doing what they'd like. And if he asks about the Arab family? That can wait. No need to overwhelm him with too much at once. Melissa agreed. Her parents were right. Aiden needed to adjust to his father's presence gradually. And about tomorrow's lunch, do you think I should go? I think so, Margaret said. At least for the first few times, it's better if you're there. I agree, Richard added. It's important to see how Khalid interacts with Aiden. Do you want to come too? Richard and Margaret exchanged glances. Maybe it's too soon. For that, Margaret said diplomatically. It's best if the three of you get to know each other first. But we expect a full report afterward, Richard teased, trying to lighten the mood. Melissa smiled, the first genuine smile since the conversation began. I promise I'll tell you everything. Aiden appeared at the kitchen door, rubbing his eyes. Mom, I'm sleepy. Let's go home then, sweetheart. Can I sleep over at Grandma and Grandpa's? Not tonight, dear. Tomorrow you have plans with your dad. Oh yeah, I forgot. Aiden's excitement at remembering the meeting with his father brought mixed feelings for Melissa. On one hand, she was happy to see him so thrilled. On the other, she worried about the expectations being built. Aiden, are you excited to have lunch with Daddy? Very. I'm going to ask him lots of things. What kind of things? If he knows how to play soccer, if he likes pizza, if he has a video game. Melissa laughed. For Aiden, priorities were very different from adults. What if he doesn't like the same things you do? Aiden thought for a moment. That's okay. Grandma doesn't like soccer, and I still love her. The simplicity of his answer moved everyone present. For a child, love didn't depend on shared interests. You're very wise, my grandson, Margaret said, kissing his head. Grandma taught me to be wise. And do you remember what Grandma always says about new people? That we should give them a chance to show us who they are. That's right. And that goes for Daddy too, huh? Yeah, but I already like him. Why? Because he has pretty eyes like mine, and because Mommy smiled when she saw him. Aiden's sharp observation left Melissa speechless. She hadn't realized her reaction had been so obvious. Aiden, you're very observant, Richard said. What's observant? It's someone who notices everything, like you. Oh, then I'm observant. On the way home, Aiden fell asleep in the back seat. Melissa drove in silence, thinking about everything that had happened that day. Her life had completely changed in just a few hours. The man she'd never been able to forget was back. Her son's father wanted to be part of their lives, and she had no idea how to handle it all. When they got home, she carried Aiden to his room. As she tucked him in, he murmured, "Mommy, do you think Daddy will like me?" "I'm sure he already likes you very much, sweetheart." "And you? Do you like him?" Melissa hesitated. How could she answer such a direct and important question? "It's complicated, Aiden. Grown-up feelings are sometimes complicated. But do you like him?" "Yes, I like him." "Then it's okay." Aiden turned on his side and fell back into a deep sleep. For him, it really was that simple. Melissa watched her son sleep for a few minutes. He looked so small and vulnerable. How could she protect him from possible disappointment without depriving him of the right to know his father? In her own room, Melissa picked up her phone and saw a message from Khalid. "Thank you for letting me meet Aiden. He's perfect. I can't wait for lunch tomorrow. Good night, Melissa." She stared at the message for a long time before replying, "He's very excited too. See you tomorrow." It was a neutral response, one that didn't reveal her feelings. But the truth was she could hardly wait to see him again either. Before bed, she called her best friend Jennifer, who lived in another city. "Jennifer, you won't believe what happened today." "What? You sound worked up." "Khalid's back." "Khalid? Aiden's father, the Arab guy?" "Yes." "Oh my God, after all these years. After all these years. And what does he want?" "To meet Aiden and to win me back, I think." "And you, what do you want?" "That's the million-dollar question." "Melissa, you never forgot him. We've always known that." "I know. But he's married, Jennifer." "Married? It was an arranged marriage. He says he doesn't love his wife. And you believe him?" I want to believe him." "That's the problem, girl. You're too emotionally involved to see clearly. My parents said the same thing. And they're right. You need to be careful." "But what if this is my only chance to be happy?" "Melissa, you can be happy without him. You've already proven that these past 7 years." "Maybe. But it would be a complete happiness with him. Or complete unhappiness if he disappoints you again." The conversation with Jennifer left Melissa even more confused. Everyone was telling her to be careful, not to get her hopes up. But how could she ignore what she felt in her heart? The next morning, Aiden woke up even more excited than the day before. "Mommy, is it time to meet Daddy yet?" "Not yet, sweetheart. It's only 8 in the morning. We're meeting at noon." "That's 4 hours away," Aiden protested. "How about we have a nice cup of coffee and then you can help me pick out my outfit?" "Can I wear my special outfit again?" "If you want to." "I do. That way Daddy will remember I'm his son." Aiden's logic was touching. He wanted to use symbols of Arab culture to connect with his father. As she prepared the coffee, Melissa got a call from Margaret. "How are you, dear?" "Nervous, Mom. Really nervous." "That's normal. How's Aiden?" "Over the moon. He won't stop talking about lunch." "And you, have you thought about what you'll say to Khalid?" "I have so many questions. I don't even know where to start." "Start with the most important ones. Why did he come now? What are his intentions? How long is he staying? What if he doesn't have clear answers? Then you'll already have your answer about the kind of person he's become." By 11:30, Melissa and Aiden were ready to leave. She had chosen a simple but elegant dress, while Aiden had insisted on wearing his Arab thobe again. "You look beautiful, Mommy," Aiden said. "Thank you, sweetheart. You look very handsome too. Will Daddy like us?" "I'm sure he will." The Grand Plaza Hotel was in the heart of the city, a grand building Melissa had seen many times but never entered. When they stepped into the lobby, she felt intimidated by the luxurious decor. "Wow," Aiden exclaimed. "It's like a palace." "It really is beautiful," Melissa agreed. Khalid was waiting for them in the lobby, dressed in a white shirt and navy blue dress pants. When he saw them, his face lit up. "You both look wonderful," he said, politely kissing Melissa's hand and hugging Aiden. "Daddy, is this hotel yours?" Aiden asked. Khalid laughed. "No, little prince, I'm just staying here." "But it's so big." "Wait until you see our home in the Emirate. It's even bigger." Melissa shot Khalid a warning look. They had agreed not to talk about travel plans during their first meeting. "How about we have lunch?" she suggested. "Great idea." I reserved a table at the hotel restaurant. The restaurant was even more luxurious than the lobby. Aiden was amazed by the crystal chandeliers and elegantly set tables. "Can I order anything?" he asked. "Anything you want," Khalid replied. "Even ice cream for dessert." "Of course." Aiden grinned from ear to ear. Melissa noticed how genuinely happy Khalid seemed while interacting with their son. During lunch, Aiden bombarded his father with questions. "Do you know how to play soccer?" "I do. I played a lot when I was young." "What's your favorite team?" "In the United States, I root for LA Galaxy." "And you?" "Me too. Mommy taught me to cheer for them." Khalid looked at Melissa with gratitude. "I'm glad you taught our son to like my team. It was a coincidence," Melissa said, blushing. "Daddy, do you have video games?" "I have plenty. When you come visit, you can play them all." Again, Melissa gave him a warning look. "Khalid, sorry, I got carried away." Aiden kept asking, "Are you rich?" "Aiden," Melissa scolded. "It's all right," Khalid said. "Yes, my family has a lot of money." "Why didn't you send money to mommy when I was a baby?" Aiden's direct question caught Khalid off guard. "I did, little prince, whenever I could. But why couldn't you sometimes?" Khalid looked at Melissa for help. "Sometimes adults have problems kids don't understand, Aiden," she explained. "What kind of problems?" "Family problems," Khalid said. "My family didn't know you existed." "Why didn't you tell them?" Because they can be a little difficult sometimes." "Like Grandpa Richard?" Khalid and Melissa laughed. "A little, yes." "But do they know now?" Khalid hesitated. "Some do, others don't yet." "And when will they find out?" "Soon, very soon." Melissa noticed the tension in Khalid's voice when he spoke about his family. Dear listener, if you're enjoying the story, don't forget to like and especially subscribe to the channel. It helps us a lot as we're just starting out. Now back to the story. After lunch, Khalid suggested a walk in the park near the Grand Plaza Hotel. It was a sunny day and Aiden was excited about the idea. "Can I play on the playground?" he asked when he saw the swings. "Of course," Khalid answered. While Aiden played, Melissa and Khalid sat on a nearby bench. It was the first time they had privacy for a more serious conversation. "He's amazing. Melissa, you've done a wonderful job raising him." "Thank you, it hasn't always been easy. I can imagine, and I'm sorry I wasn't here to help." "Khalid, I need to ask you some questions. Ask as many as you want. Why did you come now, after all these years?" Khalid took a deep breath. "Because I finally have the freedom to make my own decisions. And because I couldn't keep pretending you didn't exist." "And your wife, does she know you're here?" "No." "What do you mean she doesn't know?" "I told her I had business in the United States." "Khalid, that's a lie." "A technical lie. You and Aiden are my most important business." "But she doesn't know about us." "No." "And when will she find out?" "When I go back." "And how do you think she'll react?" "I don't care." The answer surprised Melissa. "What do you mean you don't care?" "Our marriage isn't based on love, Melissa. It was an arrangement between families. She knows it. I know it." "But you've been married for 7 years. 7 years of a life I didn't choose. And what do you want now?" "I want the life I should have had, with you and Aiden." Melissa's heart raced. "Khalid, this is so complicated." "I know, but I'm willing to face the complications." "What if your family doesn't accept it?" "Then I'll have to choose between my family and you." "And what would your choice be?" Khalid looked deep into her eyes. "You, always you." Melissa felt tears forming. "Khalid, you can't just walk away from your life." "I'm not walking away. I'm choosing the life I really want." "And what does that mean in practice?" "It means I'm willing to get a divorce. It means I'm willing to give up my inheritance. It means I'm willing to start a new life here in the United States." "Have you really thought this through?" "I've thought about it every day for the last 7 years. Aiden ran up to them, interrupting the conversation. "Mom, Dad, look what I found." It was a small yellow flower that had fallen from a tree. "It's beautiful, sweetheart," Melissa said. "I'm going to give it to Grandma Margaret. She'll love it. Dad, do you want to meet my grandparents?" I'd love to, Aiden, but I think they need some time to get used to the idea. Why do adults always need time for everything? Khalid laughed. Because adults make simple things complicated. Like what? Like trusting people. For you, it's easy to like me, right? Super easy, you're my dad. For adults, it's harder to trust new people. But you're not new, you're family. Aiden's simple logic left them both emotional. You're right, little prince, I am family. And family loves each other, right, Dad? Exactly. Family loves each other. Aiden ran back to play, leaving the adults alone again. Melissa, I know I'm asking a lot. I know it's risky for you. It's risky for all of us, including you. I know. But some risks are worth taking. And if it goes wrong? And if it goes right? Melissa stayed silent, watching Aiden play. He seemed so happy, so complete with his father's presence. Khalid, I need time to think. How much time? I don't know. This isn't a decision you make overnight. I understand, but I want you to know I won't give up easily. And I want you to understand that I have to think about Aiden too. He can't get hurt. I would never hurt my son. Not intentionally. But if you make promises you can't keep, I won't make empty promises, Melissa. Whatever I say, I'll do. How can I be sure of that? By giving me a chance to prove it. Aiden came running back to them. Can I go on the big slide? Of course, sweetheart, just be careful. Daddy, will you come with me? I will. Melissa watched father and son playing together. It was impossible to deny the natural connection between them. Aiden laughed loudly as Khalid helped him on the slide. Maybe, she thought, maybe it really is worth trying. When they got home that evening, Aiden was beaming. Mommy, Daddy is so cool. Did you enjoy spending time with him? I loved it. He promised to teach me how to play chess. Chess? It's a very old game. Daddy said all Arab princes know how to play. Oh, how interesting. Mommy, can I see Daddy again tomorrow? Tomorrow is Monday, sweetheart. You have school. But what about after school? We'll see. Truthfully, Melissa wasn't sure if she was ready to see Khalid again so soon. She needed time to process everything that had happened and been said. Later, after Aiden fell asleep, Melissa called her parents. How was lunch? Margaret asked immediately. It was enlightening. In what way? Khalid made it clear he wants a second chance with us, and not just as Aiden's father. And what did you say? That I need time to think. And you, what do you want? Mom, I still love him. I never stopped loving him. That's no surprise to anyone, dear. But love alone doesn't solve everything, does it? No. It solves a lot, but not everything. He said he's willing to get divorced, to start a new life here in the United States. And do you believe him? I want to believe him. That's different from believing. I know. Richard took the phone. Melissa, you need to verify if he really is who he says he is. Dad, I'm sure he is who he says he is. How can you be sure? You met him 7 years ago. People change. Some things don't change. A person's essence doesn't change. Or you're seeing what you want to see. Her father's observation left her thoughtful. Was it possible she was letting herself be swayed by what she wished were true? Dad, how could I verify this? I don't know, but there must be a way. Look online for information about the royal family of his emirate. And if I don't find anything, then you'll have your answer. And if I find confirmation that he really is royalty, then at least you'll know he's not lying about that. After hanging up, Melissa went to her computer. She searched for Royal Family Emirate Al Mansour and found plenty of information. There were official photos, news about the family's business dealings, official ceremonies. And there he was, Khalid bin Ahmed Al Mansour, listed as the second son of Sheikh Hassan Al Mansour. There was even a photo of him at an official ceremony, wearing traditional Arab attire. Melissa felt relief and worry at the same time. Relief at confirming he hadn't lied about his identity. Worry as she realized the true scale of the family involved. She kept searching and found information about his marriage. It had been news in the Emirates' local papers. Prince Khalid marries cousin in traditional ceremony, the headline read. The photo showed Khalid next to a woman in a wedding dress, both with serious expressions. They didn't seem like a couple in love. confirming what he had said about it being an arranged marriage. But there was also more recent information. Khalid had taken on important positions in the family business. He was a director of several companies. He had enormous responsibilities. How could he simply walk away from all that? Melissa stayed up late researching, trying to better understand the life Khalid led in his country. The more she discovered, the more she grasped the magnitude of what he was proposing. It wasn't just about leaving his wife. It was about giving up a lifestyle, family responsibilities, a fortune. Would he really be capable of doing that? The next morning, while driving Aiden to school, he asked, "Mom, when will I see Dad again?" "I don't know, sweetheart. Why?" "Because I liked him, and I think you two were happy yesterday." "Why do you think that?" "Because you smiled a lot when you were together." Once again, Aiden's perceptiveness surprised her. "Aiden, would you like Dad to be part of our lives forever?" "Of course, isn't that how families work?" "Not always, sweetheart. Sometimes it's more complicated." "Why does it have to be complicated?" Because Dad lives very far away, in another country. Then he can live here. It's not that simple." "Why not?" How could she explain to a child the complexities of arranged marriages, family obligations, cultural differences? Because he has a life there, responsibilities. But what if he wants to stay here? Then maybe he will. "Do you want him to stay, Mom?" Melissa stopped the car in front of the school and looked at her son. "I want you to be happy, Aiden. That's what matters most to me. And I'll be happy if Dad stays." "How can you be so sure?" "Because families together are happier than families apart." Her son's simple wisdom touched Melissa's heart. Maybe children really understood better than adults what was important in life. At work, Melissa couldn't focus. She received messages from Khalid throughout the day. "Good morning. How is Aiden? I hope he slept well after our meeting. I'd like to see you both again today." She replied politely but non-committally. "He's fine, thank you. He slept great. Maybe tomorrow." At the end of the day, when she picked Aiden up from school, the teacher called her aside. "Mrs. Melissa, Aiden was very excited today. He told all his classmates he met his father yesterday." "Oh, really?" "Yes, and he asked if he could bring his father to the school presentation next week." "Presentation?" "Family Day. Each child introduces their family to the class." Melissa had forgotten about the event, and now there was an added complication. "Miss, the situation is a bit complicated." "I understand, but Aiden seems very happy about his father being around." "That's true. He is happy. If possible, it would be good for him to have his father there on Family Day." Melissa promised she would consider it and left the school with Aiden, who immediately asked, "Mom, can I bring Dad to Family Day?" "Do you really want him to come?" "Yes, all. My friends are introducing their parents. Now I can introduce mine too." "Aiden, maybe it's too soon." "Please, Mom, please. I'll talk to Dad and see if he can." "He can, I'm sure he can." Aiden's confidence made her heart ache. What if Khalid couldn't come? What if he had already returned to the emirate? When they got home, there was a bouquet of flowers at the door with a card. "To the bravest woman I know, and to the most special boy in the world. With love, Khalid." Aiden was delighted by the flowers. "Dad sent us flowers." "It looks like he did. Can I call to thank him?" "You don't even have his number." "Do you?" Melissa hesitated. "I did, but I wasn't sure if I wanted Aiden to call." "Aiden, what if we wait until we see Daddy in person to thank him?" "When will we see him?" "Soon." Actually, Melissa had decided it was time to have a more serious talk with Khalid. She needed answers to questions she hadn't asked the day before. After Aiden fell asleep, she sent a message. "We need to talk, just the two of us." The reply came immediately. "Of course, whenever and wherever you want. Tomorrow, after Aiden leaves school, at the cafe in the central square. I'll be there." Melissa stayed up all night thinking about what she would ask. There were so many unanswered questions, so many doubts. The next day, after dropping Aiden off at school, she went straight to work, but her mind was on the afternoon meeting. At 4 o'clock, she headed to the cafe. Khalid was already there, drinking Arabic coffee and looking nervous. "Thank you for the flowers," she said, sitting down. "Did Aiden like them?" He was delighted. "And you?" It was a kind gesture. "Melissa, you seem tense. What's wrong?" "Nothing's wrong. I just need clear answers. Ask your questions. How long do you plan to stay in the United States?" "As long as necessary." "That's not an answer, Khalid." "Fine. I initially came for 2 weeks, but I've already decided to extend my stay." "For how long?" "Until we resolve our situation." "And what does resolving our situation mean?" "It means making the decisions I need to make so we can be together." "Are you really willing to get a divorce?" "Yes." "And your family, how will they react?" "I don't know, but I'm prepared for the consequences." "What consequences?" "I could be disinherited. I could lose my position in the family business." "And that doesn't scare you?" "Less than the thought of living without you two." Melissa studied his face, searching for signs of hesitation. "Khalid, do you have any idea what you're saying? You were born into wealth. You've always had everything. How will you survive if you lose that?" "I have qualifications, Melissa. I can work. I can start my own business." "Here in the United States?" "Here in the United States. And your wife, how will you explain it to her?" "I'll tell her the truth. That I found the woman I love and the son I never knew." "And you think she'll just accept that?" "I don't expect her to, but I don't care." "Khalid, marriage is a serious commitment, even when it's arranged." "Are you defending my marriage?" he asked, surprised. "I'm trying to understand if you've really thought through all the implications." "Melissa, do you want me to go back to my wife?" "I want you to be sure of your decisions. I don't want you to regret it later." "I won't regret it." "How can you be so sure?" "Because I spent 7 years regretting not fighting for you the first time." His answer left her speechless for a moment. "Khalid, there's something Aiden asked me and I need to know if you can do it." "Anything." "Next week is family day at his school. He wants you to come." "Of course, I'll be there." "When?" "Next Friday at 2 in the afternoon. I'll be there." "Are you sure you won't have to travel before then?" "Melissa, I already told you I'm not leaving until we resolve our situation." "What if your family forces you to go back?" "No one can force me. I'm a grown man." "Even as part of a royal family?" "Even then." Melissa took a deep breath before asking her next question. "Khalid, do you want to start dating me again?" "I want much more than dating, Melissa." "What do you want?" "I want to marry you. I want to be Aiden's father officially. I want us to be a real family." Melissa's heart raced. "Khalid, that's too rushed." 7 years isn't rushed. But we just reconnected. "And do you think my feelings have changed?" "I don't know. Mine haven't." "Then what's stopping you from saying yes?" "I fear. Fear that you'll change your mind. Fear that your family will convince you to go back. Fear that Aiden might get hurt." "Those are legitimate fears, but I can't prove them wrong unless you give me a chance." "What kind of chance?" "Let me stay in the United States. Let me prove I'm the man you need." "What about the divorce?" "I'll start the process as soon as I return to the Emirate to get my documents." "When would that be?" "In a few weeks, after Aiden's family day." "What if your family doesn't let you come back?" "They will, because I'll make it clear. It's either this or I cut ties with them for good." "Khalid, have you really thought this through?" "Melissa, I've thought about it every day for 7 years." She fell silent, watching the coffee swirl. Families ate lunch together. Couples chatted, children played. It was the normal life she'd always dreamed of. "There's one thing I haven't asked you yet," she said. "Go ahead. How did your family find out about me the first time?" Khalid sighed. "My older brother followed me, saw us together several times." "And he told your parents?" "Yes. They were furious." "Why?" "Because I was destined to marry my cousin since childhood. It was an arrangement between 2 powerful families. And you never questioned it." "I did, but I didn't have the courage to stand up to them. I was too young, too dependent. And now I'm an adult. I have my own resources, my own standing. But you still rely on your family for many things." "Less than you think." "Khalid, I looked you up online." He seemed surprised. "You did?" Yes, I saw you hold important positions in the family business. That's true. How can you just walk away from that? Because some things matter more than money and power. How will you support a family here in the United States? I have personal investments, and I can work. Doing what? I have a business degree. I can start my own business. With what capital? With what I've saved personally. Is it enough? To start, yes. Melissa was impressed by how much he'd planned. You've really thought of everything, haven't you? I've had 7 years to think. What if it doesn't work between us? What if we realize we're different people now? That's a risk I have to take. And Aiden, what if he gets hurt in the process? Melissa, you saw how happy he was yesterday. How naturally he accepts me as his father. But children adapt quickly and they get hurt just as fast. Then we'll do everything to make sure he doesn't get hurt. How? By building a strong relationship, being honest with him, keeping our word. Melissa checked the time. It was almost time to pick up Aiden from school. I need to go get Aiden. Can I come? Khalid, please, I want to see him, and I want him to know he can count on me. All right, but we take it slow. Of course. On the way to school, Khalid asked, "Are you a little more convinced I'm serious?" "A little," she admitted. "What would it take to convince you completely?" "Time, actions, you keeping your promises." "How much time?" "I don't know. How much time do you have?" "All the time in the world, if it means being with you both." Aiden beamed when he saw his father waiting at the school gate. "Daddy, you came to pick me up." "I did, little prince. All my friends are going to meet you, and I want to meet every one of them." Aiden introduced Khalid to his classmates and teachers. The pride on the boy's face was unmistakable. "This is my dad," he told everyone. "He's a real prince." Khalid seemed genuinely happy with the attention Aiden gave him. "Aiden, tell Daddy about Family Day," Melissa suggested. "Oh yeah, Daddy, can you come to my school on Friday?" "Of course. What happens that day?" "Everyone introduces their family. I'm going to introduce you and Mommy." "It would be an honor to be introduced by you." "And can you wear your prince clothes?" Khalid laughed. "If you want me to, yes. I do. Then everyone will know you're special." On the way home, Aiden couldn't stop talking about how cool it would be to have his dad at school. "Mom, can Dad have dinner with us tonight?" Melissa looked at Khalid. "If your mother allows it, I'd love to," he said. "It's fine, but it'll be something simple." "I don't mind. I just want to be with you both." During dinner, Melissa watched the natural interaction between father and son. Aiden asked questions, told stories about school, showed his drawings. Khalid listened attentively, made thoughtful comments, showed genuine interest. It was impossible to deny they had a special connection. "Dad, do you know how to cook?" Aiden asked. "A few things. I can make Arabic dishes." "What kind of dishes?" "Hummus, falafel, kebab." "Can I try them?" "Of course, I can teach your mom how to make them too." "Do you know how to cook, Melissa?" he asked. "Just some basics," she replied, blushing. "We could cook together someday." "That'd be awesome," Aiden said excitedly. "Like a real family." After dinner, while Aiden watched TV, Melissa and Khalid washed the dishes together. "Thank you for today," she said. "Thank you for letting me be here. Aiden is so happy. And you?" "I'm hopeful. That's progress." "It is." "Melissa, can I ask you a personal question?" "Depends how personal." "Did you date anyone these past 7 years?" The question caught her off guard. "Why do you want to know?" "Because I need to know if there's someone else in your life." "There's no one." "Never?" "There were a few attempts, but I always compared them to you, and they always fell short." Khalid stopped washing the dishes and looked at her. "Melissa, I know. It was foolish of me. Holding on to a love from the past. It wasn't foolish, it was loyal. It was painful. It was painful for me too, being married to a woman I didn't love." "Khalid, what's your relationship like with your wife?" "Cordial, respectful, but loveless." "And her, how does she feel?" "She doesn't love me either. She was raised knowing she'd marry me. It's more of a duty to her than a marriage." "Do you have children?" "No, and that's another problem. My family pressures us to have kids, but neither of us wants to." "Why?" because it would mean bringing a child into a home without love. And now? Knowing about Aiden? Now I know. I already have the son I always wanted. Aiden appeared in the kitchen. Are you done? I want to show Dad my toy cars. We're done, sweetheart. Melissa watched as Aiden proudly showed his collection to Khalid. His father showed genuine interest, asking about each one. This one's my favorite, Aiden said, holding up a blue car. It's just like the car I want when I grow up. It's very nice. I have one like it in the Emirate. Really? What color? Silver, but I think blue is nicer. Can you take me for a ride in your car when I visit you? Of course I can. Melissa felt a pang in her chest. Aiden was already making plans to visit him in the Emirate. What if that wasn't possible? Aiden, how about we put your cars away? It's getting late. 5 more minutes, Mom. Okay, 5 minutes. Khalid moved closer to Melissa. He's perfect, he whispered. He is, and I hope he stays that way. He will. I'll do everything to protect his happiness. What if you have to choose between him and your family? I already chose, a long time ago. When it was time for Khalid to leave, Aiden was sad. Dad, can you sleep here? Aiden, Melissa began. Maybe one day, little prince, but for now Dad has to stay at the hotel. Why? Because your mum and I are still getting to know each other again. But you already know each other. Yes, but people change over time. We need to make sure we're still compatible. What's compatible? It's when two people fit well together. You two fit. I saw you laughing together. Aiden's observation made them both smile. You're right, sweetheart, Melissa said, but still, let's take it slow. Okay, but Daddy, are you coming back tomorrow? If your mom allows it, yes. Mommy, please. We'll see, Aiden. After Khalid left, Aiden went straight to bed but was still too excited to sleep. Mommy, Daddy is everything I imagined. You imagined what he'd be like. I did, and he's even better. What do you like most about him? He listens to me and asks about the things I like. That's important, isn't it? Very important, and he's as handsome as me. Melissa smiled. You do have similar features. Mommy, do you think Daddy will stay here in the United States? I don't know, sweetheart. It's a very complicated decision for him. Why is it complicated? Because he has a whole life in another country. But he could have a life here, too. He could, but moving countries isn't simple. If he loves me, he'll want to stay. Aiden's simple logic made her think. Was it really that straightforward? Aiden, what if Daddy can't stay? Would you be very sad? I would, but I'd understand. You'd understand. If he has responsibilities there, right? Like Grandpa. Richard has responsibilities at work. Exactly. Sometimes adults can't do what they want because of responsibilities. But Daddy can visit me, right? Of course he can. And can I visit him? Maybe when you're older. When I'm 10, maybe. That's 3 years. It's not too long. Melissa kissed her son's forehead. It's not too long at all. Now sleep, sweetheart. Good night, Mommy. Thank you for letting me meet Daddy. You're welcome, my love. Good night. Melissa kept thinking about their conversation as she tidied the house. Aiden was handling the situation with impressive maturity for his age. Maybe adults were the ones who complicated things unnecessarily. The next morning, Melissa woke to a message from Khalid. Good morning. Yesterday was the best day I've had in years. Thank you for letting me be part of your routine. She replied, Aiden loved it too. Thank you for being so kind to him. It's easy to be kind to him. He's a special kid. He is. Melissa, can I ask you something? Of course. Do you love me? The direct question left her unsure how to respond. Finally, she decided to be honest. Yes, I still love you. Then why are you still so afraid? Because love isn't a guarantee things will work out. But it's a good start. It is. Can I see you today? Aiden has soccer. Practice at 4. Do you want to come watch? I'd love to. Then we'll see you there. Melissa spent the day thinking about their exchange. Admitting she still loved him had been freeing, but also scary. Now there was no pretending this was just about Aiden meeting his father. It was also about her and Khalid getting a second chance. At soccer practice, Khalid was impressed by Aiden's skills. "He plays really well for his age," he commented to Melissa. "He trains twice a week." "Who taught him?" "His coach here, and my dad helps when he can." "Your dad plays soccer?" "He did when he was younger. Now he just watches." "I'd like to get to know your parents better." "They still need time, Khalid." "I understand, but I hope they'll accept me one day. They want what's best for Aiden. If you show them that's you, they'll accept you. And you? Do you accept me yet?" Melissa smiled. "I'm starting to accept the possibility." "That's progress." "It is." After practice, Aiden ran over to them, sweaty and happy. "Daddy, did you see my goal?" "I did. It was fantastic." "The coach said I have talent." "You do. Maybe you got it from me," Khalid joked. "Did you play soccer as a kid?" "I did. It was my favorite sport." "Do you still play?" "Sometimes, but not as well as you." Aiden laughed, clearly proud of the compliment. "Daddy, do you want to have ice cream with us?" "Of course I do." At the ice cream parlor, Aiden chose the biggest ice cream available, while Melissa and Khalid went for simpler flavors. "Mommy, can I tell Grandpa and Grandma that Daddy came to my soccer practice?" "Of course." "Will they be happy?" "I think so. They want you to be happy." "And I'm happy when I'm with Daddy." Khalid was moved by his son's words. "I'm happy when I'm with you too, little prince." "Then let's stay together forever." "That's what I want most in the world." Melissa watched the interaction between father and son with mixed feelings. It was beautiful to see them connect, but also concerning how quickly Aiden was becoming attached. "Aiden, remember what we talked about Daddy's responsibilities?" "I remember, but he can bring his responsibilities here." Khalid looked at Melissa. "Actually, little prince, that's exactly what I'm thinking of doing." "Really? Really? Yay!" Aiden shouted, making other customers at the ice cream parlor turn their heads. "Aiden, don't shout," Melissa gently scolded. "Sorry, Mommy, but I'm so happy." "We know you are, sweetheart." That night, after Aiden fell asleep, Melissa called Jennifer again. "How are things with the Arab prince?" Jennifer asked. "Complicated. He's turning out to be a wonderful person. Aiden is crazy about him. And you? I'm falling for him again too. Is that good or bad? I don't know. It's scary." "Why?" "Because he's proposing huge changes in his life. What if he regrets it later? What if he doesn't? Then maybe I'll have the family I've always dreamed of. Melissa, you deserve to be happy. I know, but I'm afraid to believe it could work. Fear is normal, but you can't let it stop you from trying." "What about Aiden? What if he gets hurt?" "Is Aiden hurting now?" "No, on the contrary, he's glowing." "Then stop worrying about problems that might never happen." "You're right. I always am," Jennifer joked. "Now tell me, are you going to give this man a chance?" "I think so." "Then go for it, girl. Life's too short to waste chances at happiness." The next day, Melissa made a decision. She invited Khalid over for dinner again, but this time with a proposal. "Khalid, I have a proposal for you." "Go on." "How about we spend a week together, as an experimental family?" "What do you mean?" "You can have dinner here every night. Help Aiden with his homework, be part of his routine. That way we can see how we work as a family." "Melissa, this is more than I hoped for. It's a test for all of us. And if it works, then we talk about next steps. And if it doesn't, then at least we'll know we tried. When do we start?" "Tonight, if you want." "I'd love to." Aiden was overjoyed by the news. "Daddy's having dinner here every night this week?" "Not every week, sweetheart, just this week to see how it goes. What if I like it a lot? Then we'll talk about making it permanent." "I already know I'll love it." "How can you be so sure?" "Because family together is always better than family apart." During that first experimental week, Melissa watched closely how Khalid behaved. He arrived punctually every day, always bringing something for Aiden: books, small toys, Arab sweets. He helped with homework, showed patience when Aiden was difficult, and pitched in with household chores. "Melissa, can I help cook?" he asked on the third day. "You really know how to cook?" I do. My mother insisted all her children learn. What kind of food can you make? Arab dishes, obviously, but I also learned some American recipes. How? I looked them up online. I wanted to impress you. Melissa laughed. You don't need to impress us, Khalid. I do. I need to prove I can be the husband and father you deserve. The word husband made Melissa's heart race. Khalid, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to pressure you. You're not pressuring me. It's just a lot to process. I understand. Aiden appeared in the kitchen. What are you cooking? Kibba, Khalid answered. What's kibba? A very tasty Arabic dish. Can I help? Of course you can. Melissa watched father and son cooking together. Khalid patiently explained each step, while Aiden asked questions about Arabic culture. Daddy, do all Arabs know how to cook? Most learn. Food is very important in our culture. Like in the United States? Exactly, family and food go together. And do they have soccer in your country? Yes, but the most popular sport is cricket. What's cricket? A sport similar to baseball. I can teach you someday. When? When you come visit me. Aiden looked at Melissa. Can I visit Daddy, Mom? Maybe when you're older. Or when I come live here, Khalid added. You're going to live here? Aiden asked excitedly. I'm seriously considering it. Yay! That night, after Aiden fell asleep, Melissa had a serious talk with Khalid. How are you feeling about this trial week? Better than I ever imagined. This is how I always wanted my life to be. And you? Are you missing anything? Just having you beside me in bed, he said with a mischievous smile. Melissa blushed. Khalid, sorry, I couldn't resist. We're adults. We can talk about these things. And what do you think about these things? I think, no, I miss you too. Melissa, but I'm not ready yet. I understand. I'll wait as long as necessary. Thank you. On Thursday of the trial week, the first problem arose. Aiden had a crying fit because a classmate said he was lying about having a prince for a father. Mom, Tyler said I'm making up stories. And what did you tell him? I told him it was true, but he didn't believe me. Khalid knelt beside his son. Aiden, not everyone will always believe you, and that's okay. But I don't like them thinking I'm a liar. You're not a liar, you're telling the truth. Then why doesn't he believe me? Because sometimes the truth is hard to believe. Melissa watched how Khalid handled the situation. He didn't dismiss Aiden's feelings or promise to fix the problem. He simply validated the boy's emotions and offered perspective. Daddy, can you come to my school and show Tyler you're real? I can, but do you think it's necessary? Aiden thought for a moment. No, my real friends believe me. Exactly. A little prince. Melissa was impressed by their wisdom. At the end of the trial week, she gave an honest assessment. Khalid, how do you think it went? It was perfect, better than I dreamed. Aiden loved having you here every day. And you? I got used to it. In a good way. Does that mean we can continue? It means I'm willing to try. What exactly does that mean? That I want you to stay in the United States, that I want us to try being a family. Khalid swept her into his arms and spun her around. Melissa, you've just made me the happiest man in the world. Khalid, put me down. Sorry, I got carried away. But there are conditions. What? First, you need to settle your situation. In the emirate. Divorce, family matters, everything. I've already started the process. My lawyer is preparing the paperwork. Second, we take it slow. No marriage until you're completely free. Agreed. Third, Aiden comes first. If at any point I think he's being hurt, I'll reconsider everything. I completely agree. And fourth, you need to be absolutely sure, because if you change your mind after Aiden gets completely attached, I won't change my mind. Melissa, that much I'm absolutely sure of. That night they told Aiden about the decision. Aiden, Daddy is going to try to move to the United States to be close to us. Forever. Forever, Khalid confirmed. And we're going to be a real family? Yes, sweetheart. Aiden jumped with joy. Can I tell Grandma and Grandpa? You can. Tomorrow we'll visit them together. All three of us? All three. The next morning, Melissa called her parents. to let them know she was coming to visit with Aiden and Khalid. "Melissa, are you sure you're ready for this?" Margaret asked. "I'm not sure of anything, Mom, but I know I have to try." "And Khalid, does he understand the responsibility he's taking on?" "I think so. This week he's shown he can be a good father and partner. A week isn't much time to judge." "I know, but sometimes you just know something is right, even when it seems risky." "All right, let's get to know him better then." Richard wasn't too thrilled about the idea, but agreed to welcome Khalid into their home. When they arrived at her parents' house, Aiden ran ahead. "Grandpa, Grandma, Daddy is going to live in the United States." Richard and Margaret came out to greet them, clearly nervous. "Mr. Richard, Mrs. Margaret," Khalid said politely. "Thank you very much for welcoming me into your home." "You're welcome," Margaret replied diplomatically. Richard only nodded. "Grandpa, Daddy cooked Arabic food for me." "Really?" Richard asked, trying to sound interested. "It's really good, almost. As good as Grandma's pasta," Margaret smiled. "That's high praise. Aiden thinks my pasta is the best in the world." "And it is," Aiden confirmed, "but Daddy's food is good too." During lunch, Khalid made an effort to be respectful and charismatic. He answered all of Richard's questions about his plans, his finances, his intentions. "Mr. Al-Mansour," Richard said, "my daughter told me you plan to get divorced." "That's true. I've already started the process." "And your family, how did they react?" "They don't know yet, but they will soon." "And how do you think they'll react?" "Not well, I imagine, but I'm prepared for the consequences." "What consequences?" "I could be disinherited. I could lose my position in the family business. And that doesn't worry you?" "Less than losing Melissa and Aiden again." Margaret watched the conversation silently, studying Khalid's face. "Khalid," she said, "can I ask you a personal question?" "Of course." "Why did it take you 7 years to come back?" "Because I was young and cowardly. I let my family make decisions for me." "And what changed?" "I grew up, I matured, and I realized some things are more important than family approval." "And if your family gives you an ultimatum, them or us?" "I already know what my choice would be." Richard leaned forward. "Mr. Al-Mansour, with all due respect, it's easy to say that now, but when the time comes..." "Mr. Richard, with all due respect, I spent 7 years living with the consequences of not making the right choice the first time. I won't make the same mistake twice. And how can we be sure of that? By giving me a chance to prove it." Margaret looked at Melissa. "Sweetheart, do you believe him?" "I do, Mom. Even knowing the risks?" "Especially because of the risks. If he's willing to give up so much, it's because he truly loves us." Aiden, who had stayed quiet during the serious conversation, finally spoke up. "Grandpa, don't you like Daddy?" Richard looked at his grandson, visibly uncomfortable. "It's not that I don't like him, Aiden. I just want to be sure he won't hurt you." "He won't hurt me. He's my daddy." "Sometimes, sweetheart, even the people we love can hurt us without meaning to. But Daddy promised he'll always take care of me." "And I will keep that promise," Khalid said firmly. Richard sighed. "I hope so, Mr. Al-Mansour. I hope so." Margaret changed the subject. "Khalid, tell us about your culture. Aiden should know his Arab roots. Of course, I'd love to teach him about our history, our language, our customs." "Would he speak Arabic?" "If he wants to learn, yes." "And religion?" "I'd let him choose when he's older. I wouldn't force anything." "What if he wants to visit the emirate?" "When he's older, and if Melissa agrees, of course he can visit." Richard finally seemed to relax a little. "Mr. Al-Mansour, I'll be direct with you. Please, Aiden is our grandson. We love him more than our own lives. I understand completely. If you hurt that boy, you'll have to answer to me. I won't hurt my son, Mr. Richard, I promise. And Melissa, she already suffered once because of you. And I'll spend the rest of my life making up for it." Margaret looked at her husband. "Richard, I think we should give him a chance." "Why?" "Because Aiden is happy. Because Melissa is happy. And because sometimes people deserve a second chance." Richard was silent for a long moment. "All right," he finally said, "but we'll be watching." "Any sign that you're hurting them?" "I understand," Khalid said, "and I appreciate the opportunity. Aiden jumped off Margaret's lap and ran to hug his grandfather. "Thank you, Grandpa. Now we're all one big family." Richard hugged his grandson, his eyes misty. "That's right, my prince, one big family." That afternoon at the park, Aiden played while the adults talked. "Khalid," Margaret said, "I want you to know it won't be easy. Raising a family never is. I'm ready for the challenges. And when Aiden throws a tantrum, when Melissa is stressed, when the bills pile up, I'll be there for everything. What if your family in the Emirate causes trouble? I'll protect my family here." Richard, who had stayed quiet, finally spoke. "Mr. Al-Mansour, I won't pretend I'm completely convinced, but I'll support my daughter's decision. Thank you, Mr. Richard, that means a lot to me. Just don't let me down. I won't." The following Monday was family day at Aiden's school. Melissa, Khalid, Richard, and Margaret all went together to support the boy. Aiden beamed when it was his turn to introduce his family. "This is my family," he said proudly. "My mom, Melissa, my dad, Khalid, who came from the Emirate, my grandpa, Richard, and my grandma, Margaret." The teacher asked a few questions about their multicultural family, and Aiden answered with confidence and joy. "My dad is learning how to be American," he said, making everyone laugh. After the presentation, other kids came over curiously to meet Aiden's prince dad. Khalid was patient and kind with all of them, answering questions about the Emirate, showing photos on his phone, teaching them a few Arabic words. "Mr. Al-Mansour," the teacher said, "Aiden talks about you all the time. He's such a happy child." "Thank you, he's a special boy." "Do you plan to keep Aiden in this school if you move?" "We're not moving. I'm the one moving here." "How interesting. Aiden mentioned you're from Arab royalty." "I am from the royal family, yes, but now I just want to be Aiden's dad and Melissa's husband." The teacher smiled. What a beautiful love story. On the way back, Aiden couldn't stop talking about how great it was to introduce his whole family. "Now everyone knows I have a prince dad and that I wasn't lying." "Did you feel important?" Margaret asked. "So much, but the most important thing is that now we're a complete family." "And you, Khalid?" Richard asked. "How did it feel being introduced as a father for the first time?" "It was the proudest moment of my life. Even more important than royal ceremonies? Infinitely more important." That night, Melissa and Khalid talked about the next steps. "When do you need to return to the Emirate?" she asked. "Next week. I need to handle the divorce matters in person and inform my family of my decision." "For how long?" "I don't know. It could be a few weeks, maybe a few months." "What if your family tries to stop you from coming back?" "They can't stop me. I'm a free adult." "Khalid, are you sure you want to give up everything?" "Melissa, you and Aiden are my everything. The rest is just material. Still, it's going to be hard, and I know, but some fights are worth it." "What if your father disowns you? Then I'll work and build my own life." "Do you know how to work? I mean really work, not just manage family businesses?" Khalid laughed. "I'll learn. You can teach me how to be a true American. That includes eating donuts for breakfast and complaining about traffic." "I accept the challenge." Aiden appeared in the room in his pajamas. "Daddy, are you leaving again?" "I am, little prince. But only for a while." "How long?" "Not too long. Just to take care of some important things." "What kind of things?" "Grown-up stuff, papers, serious talks." "With your parents?" "With my parents too." "Will they like knowing you have a son?" Khalid hesitated. "Maybe not at first, but they'll get used to it." "Why wouldn't they like it?" "Because they wanted me to live a different way." "But you want to live here with us, right? More than anything in the world." "Then it's right. When you really want something, you have to fight for it." Aiden's wisdom once again amazed the adults. "Who taught you that?" Khalid asked. "Grandma Margaret. She always says the good things in life have to be earned." "Your grandma is very wise." "Yeah, and she likes you." "How do you know?" "Because she made special pasta for you today." "And that means she likes me?" "She only makes special pasta for people she likes." Khalid looked at Melissa. "Is that true?" "It's true. My mom is like that. She shows love through food. So I've been officially accepted into the family." "I think so." "And your dad?" "My dad is tougher, but today he called you by your name instead of Mr. Al-Mansour." For him, that's progress. Small steps. Exactly. Small steps. On Khalid's last night in the United States before his trip back to the Emirate, they had a serious and emotional talk. "Melissa, I need you to promise me something." "What?" "If I take too long to come back, don't give up on me." "Why would you take long?" "I don't know what obstacles I'll face there. My family can be very persistent when they want something." "And what do they want?" "For me to keep being the obedient son I've always been." "And you?" "I want to be the man I choose to be." "Khalid, do you promise you'll come back?" "I promise. It might take weeks, months, but I'll come back." "What if you can't get divorced?" "I will. It might not be easy, but I will." "And Aiden, how do I explain your absence?" "Tell him the truth, that I went to take care of important things so we can be together forever." "What if he gets sad?" "He will, but he'll also understand it's for the good of all of us." The next morning, Khalid said goodbye to Aiden with deep emotion. "Little prince, I have to go, but I'll be back soon." "You promise?" "I promise. And when you come back, will we be a family forever?" "Forever." Aiden hugged him tightly. "I'll miss you, Daddy. I'll miss you too, but I'll think of you every day. And can I call you?" "Yes, whenever you want." Melissa took him to the airport, both trying to hold back their emotions. "Are you sure you're doing the right thing?" she asked. "I am. This is the most certain decision I've ever made in my life. I'll be waiting, Khalid, and I'll come back to you." They kissed for the first time in 7 years. It was a kiss full of promises, hope, and love. "I love you, Melissa." "I love you too. Take care of our boy. Always." After Khalid left, Melissa felt an immense emptiness, but also a hope she hadn't felt in years. Aiden handled the departure better than she expected. "Mom, Dad will figure everything out, right?" "I hope so, sweetheart. He will, because he loves us so much." "How can you be so sure?" "Because true love always finds a way." In the following days, Khalid sent daily messages about his arrival, his first conversations with his family, and the progress of the divorce process. "I arrived safely. My wife already knew something was different. The conversation was easier than I expected. I spoke with my parents today. It wasn't well received, but that was expected. The lawyer said the divorce might take a few weeks. I'll have to be patient. Is Aiden okay? Tell him Daddy sends a kiss." Melissa always replied, keeping him updated on Aiden's routine, the questions the boy asked, and the longing they all felt. "Aiden is fine, but he asks about you every day. My parents send their regards. They're rooting for everything to work out. Today Aiden said he wants to learn Arabic to talk to you when you come back. We're counting the days until your return." After 2 weeks, Khalid's messages started to sound more concerning. "My family is putting way more pressure on me than I expected. My father threatened to disown me if I go through with the divorce. My brother is trying to convince me I'm making a mistake. They're using every possible argument: family honor, responsibilities, financial consequences." Melissa began to worry seriously, and Aiden noticed her tension. "Mom, is Dad okay?" "Yes, sweetheart. He's just having some trouble sorting things out." "What kind of trouble?" "His family doesn't want him to come live here." "Why?" "Because they want him to stay there. But if he explains that he loves us..." "Love isn't always enough to convince people, Aiden." "But it has to be. Love is the most important thing." Melissa hugged her son, wishing the world were as simple as Aiden believed. In the 3rd week, the message Melissa received sent her into a panic. "Melissa, things are more complicated than I anticipated. My family is using heavy emotional blackmail. My father had heart problems and is using it to manipulate me. My brother said if I leave, all the family responsibilities will fall on him. I'm being pressured from all sides. I need more time to find a solution that doesn't completely destroy my family. Please be patient with me." Melissa read and reread the message several times. Was this the beginning of the end? Was Khalid succumbing to family pressure? She decided to call him, despite the time difference. "Khalid, it's me." "Melissa, it's so good to hear your voice. I got your message, so I'm worried." "I know, I'm worried too. Did your father really have heart problems?" "Yes, they weren't serious, but enough to scare me." "And you think it was because of your decision?" I don't know. It could have been a coincidence or stress. Khalid, you can't blame yourself for this. It's hard not to. He's my father. And Aiden is your son. I'm the woman you love. I know. I'm not giving up, Melissa. I just need to find a way to do this without destroying anyone. What if there isn't a way? There has to be. There has to. What if there isn't, Khalid? If you have to choose between your family and ours? The silence on the other end lasted so long, Melissa thought the call had dropped. Khalid, I'm here. It's a very difficult choice. Melissa's heart sank. I understand. No, you don't. It's hard not because I have doubts about what I want. It's hard because I know any choice will cause pain. And you'd rather the pain be ours? Of course not. Melissa, how can you think that? Because that's how it seems. You've been there for 3 weeks and every day you seem further from deciding to come back. That's not true. I'm trying to find the best way to return. Khalid, sometimes there isn't a perfect way. Sometimes you just have to choose. Few more days, Melissa, please. How many days? 1 week. Give me 1 more week. Fine, 1 more week. After hanging up, Melissa cried. For the first time since Khalid had left, she allowed herself to consider the possibility that he might not return. Aiden noticed her sadness. Mom, did you talk to Dad? I did. And when is he coming back? He doesn't know yet, sweetheart, but he is coming back, right? I hope so. He promised. I know, Aiden. But sometimes things don't go as planned. Dad wouldn't break a promise to me. I hope you're right. By the 4th week, Khalid's messages became fewer and farther between. When they did come, they were short and vague. Still sorting things out here. A few more days. Kisses for Aiden. Melissa began preparing herself emotionally to explain to Aiden that his father might not return. But at the end of the 4th week, she received an unexpected call. Melissa! Khalid, where have you been? I haven't heard from you in 3 days. I'm sorry. I've been in intense meetings with lawyers and family. And? I have news. Good or bad? That depends on your perspective. Melissa's heart raced. Khalid, please, be direct. I got the divorce. Really? Really. My ex-wife also wanted to separate. She's in love with someone else. And your family? Ah, that's where it gets complicated. How? They agreed to accept my decision, but on one condition. What condition? That I spend 6 months a year in the Emirate managing the family business. Melissa fell silent, processing the information. Melissa, are you there? I am. I'm just thinking. What do you think? 6 months a year is a long time to be away from Aiden. I know. But it's better than not being there at all. And the other 6 months? I'd be completely free to live here in the United States. And Aiden? How would that back and forth work? Well, actually, I was thinking, like, you could come with me on some trips. Khalid, I work here. Aiden goes to school here. I know. That's why I said some trips, not all. It would be a very complicated life. But it would be a life together, Melissa sighed. I need to think about this, Khalid. Of course. But I want you to know this was the best deal I could negotiate. It was this or cut ties with my family completely. And you, are you happy with this arrangement? I'm happy I found a way to be with you without destroying my family. When are you coming back to the US? Next week. I already have my ticket. Even without knowing if I'll accept the deal? Melissa, I made this deal because I believe you'll accept it. Because I believe you love me enough to make it work. And if I can't accept it, then we'll have to talk about other options. What options? I don't know yet. But we'll figure it out. We always do. After hanging up, Melissa was torn. On one hand, she was relieved Khalid was returning. On the other, she wasn't sure she could handle a life of constant travel. She decided to talk to her parents. Mom, Dad, I need advice. She explained the whole situation to Richard and Margaret. Melissa, Margaret said, 6 months a year really is a long time. I know, Mom. But, Richard added, it's better than nothing. Do you think I should accept? Honey, Margaret said carefully, only you can make that decision, but let me ask you something. Can you live without him again? I don't know. I don't want to find out. Then maybe it's worth trying. What about Aiden? How will he handle his father coming and going? Aiden is a resilient child, Richard said, and having his father around half the time is better than never having him at all. You really think so? We do, Margaret confirmed, and besides, you'll find a way to make it work. Love always finds a way. That night, Melissa talked to Aiden. Aiden, I need to talk to you about something serious. About Daddy? About Daddy. Isn't he coming back? Aiden asked, fear in his voice. He is, but there's a complication. What complication? He'll need to travel to the Emirate for 6 months every year to take care of the family business. Aiden grew thoughtful. Is 6 months a long time? It's half the year, sweetheart. And the other half he'll be here? Yes. Always? Always. And can he take me with him sometimes? Maybe. During school breaks. Aiden thought a little more. Mom, isn't it better to have Daddy half the time than not at all? His simple wisdom surprised her again. You're right, sweetheart. Then let's say yes. And are you sure? Yes, and you know why? And why? Because when Daddy's away, we'll miss him. And when he comes back, we'll be even happier. Melissa hugged her son, moved by his maturity. You're such a wise boy, Aiden. Grandma Margaret teaches me to be wise. What else does she teach you? That true love overcomes any difficulty. And do you believe that? I do. Do you? Melissa looked at her son, seeing in him a strength she sometimes felt she lacked. I'm learning to believe it. Then let's call Daddy and tell him we accept. Now? Now! He's probably worried, waiting for our answer. Melissa picked up the phone and dialed Khalid. It was almost 2 a.m. in the Emirate, but he answered on the first ring. Melissa, is everything okay? It is. Aiden wants to talk to you. Aiden, he's awake? Yes, he wants to give you our answer himself. She handed the phone to her son. Daddy, it's me, Aiden. Hi, my little prince. How are you? I'm good. Daddy, Mom explained about the 6 months. And what do you think? I accept. It's better to have you half the time than not at all. Aiden, are you sure? Yes, and you know why? Because when you're away, I'll study hard. And when you come back, I'll tell you everything I learned. My son, you're amazing. And Mom accepts too. We love you, Daddy. I love you too, more than anything in the world. Aiden handed the phone back to Melissa. Khalid, Melissa, thank you. Thank you so much for accepting. We hope it works out. It will. I'll do everything to make it work. When do you arrive? Friday night. We'll pick you up at the airport. You don't have to. I can take a taxi. We want to pick you up. All 3 of us. Then see you Friday. See you Friday. The next morning, Melissa woke up with a mix of relief and apprehension. Khalid was coming back, but the life ahead would be full of challenges. At breakfast, Aiden couldn't stop talking about his father's return. Mom, can we make a cake? To welcome Daddy? We can. What kind of chocolate? It's my favorite. What if Daddy doesn't like chocolate? Everyone likes chocolate, Mom. You're right. And can we decorate the house? How do you want to decorate it? With little flags, like a party? Okay, but nothing too fancy. Just a little celebration, to show we're happy. At work, Melissa told her co-workers about the situation. Melissa, are you sure you can handle this back-and-forth life? Asked Samantha, her best friend at work. I'm not sure about anything, Samantha, but I want to try. And Aiden? How will he feel with his father always traveling? He seems to be handling the idea well, better than me, actually. Children do adapt more easily. Yeah, sometimes I envy their simplicity. And you? Are you ready to be alone 6 months a year? I'll have to learn to be. But it won't be easy. Nothing worthwhile ever is. On Thursday, Melissa got an unexpected call. It was a woman with an Arabic accent. Hello, may I speak with Melissa? Speaking, who's calling? My name is Layla. I'm Khalid's sister. Melissa felt her heart race. How did you get my number? Khalid gave it to me. I need to talk to you. About what? About my brother. Can we meet in person? At when? Today, if possible. I'm in the United States. You're here? In the United States? I arrived yesterday. It's important, Melissa. Where do you want to meet? At the hotel where Khalid stayed. Do you know it? I do. At 3 in the afternoon? All right. Melissa hung up, disturbed. Why would Khalid's sister come to the United States? And why did she want to talk to her? She decided not to tell Aiden about the meeting. She didn't want to worry him unnecessarily. At 3 sharp, Melissa arrived at the hotel. Layla was waiting in the lobby, an elegant woman around 30, dressed in Western clothes but wearing a hijab. "Melissa, I'm Layla. Nice to meet you. Thank you for agreeing to meet. What's this about? Can we talk privately?" I reserved a meeting room. Melissa followed her, growing more nervous by the minute. "Melissa, I'll be direct with you," Layla said as they sat down. "I came to the United States to try to convince you not to accept Khalid's proposal." "What do you mean?" "I know my brother made an arrangement with the family. 6 months here, 6 months there. And what's the problem?" "The problem is that this arrangement is tearing our family apart." "How?" "My father is sick, sicker than Khalid realizes. The doctors say he has at most 2 years left." Melissa felt a chill in her stomach. "Khalid doesn't know this." "No, my father forbade us from telling him. He doesn't want Khalid to stay out of pity." "Then why are you telling me?" "Because I believe you have the right to know, and because I hope that knowing you'll make the right decision." "What decision would that be?" "Convincing Khalid to return to the Emirate permanently." "And Aiden? And me? You could move there. It's not that simple." "Why not?" "Our life is here, my family, my job, Aiden's school. Khalid has the means to give you a very good life there." "It's not about money, Layla." "Then what is it about?" "Belonging. This is our home." Layla sighed. "Melissa, I understand it's hard, but my father is dying. Khalid is his closest son. He should be there." "Then why not tell Khalid the truth?" "Because we know my brother. If he knew Dad was dying, he'd stay out of duty, not love. And that would kill our father. So what do you want me to do? End things with Khalid, set him free to go home?" "Layla, with all due respect, I can't do that." "Why not?" "Because it's not my decision to make. It's Khalid's. But you have influence over him." "I do. But I won't use that influence to manipulate him, even knowing his father is dying." Melissa fell silent, wrestling with her feelings. "Layla, if the situation is so serious, why don't you tell Khalid the truth?" "Because our father made us promise not to. And you're breaking that promise by telling me." "I am, because I believe it's the right thing to do." "What if I tell Khalid?" "Please don't. At least not directly." "Then what do you expect me to do with this information?" "Find a way to convince him to return without him knowing the real reason." "That would be manipulation, Layla. It would be saving my father's life and destroy mine and Aiden's." "Melissa, please, think about what's right." "What's right is the truth. Khalid has the right to know about his father's condition, and our father has the right to die in peace without feeling guilty for forcing his son to stay." Melissa stood up. "Layla, I'm so sorry for your situation, but I can't do what you're asking. Won't you even think about it?" "There's nothing to think about. If you want Khalid to know about his father, tell him yourself. But don't ask me to destroy our family for it." "Melissa, please." "I'm sorry, Layla. I have to go." Melissa left the hotel unsettled. The information she had received changed everything, but she didn't know what to do with it. Would it be right to tell Khalid about his father's condition? Would it be right not to tell him? And if Khalid's father really died in the next 2 years, how would he feel about not spending his final moments by his side? But what about Aiden and the promise Khalid had made to be present in his son's life? Melissa arrived home torn about what was the right thing to do. "Mommy!" Aiden ran to hug her. "Daddy arrives tomorrow." "That's right, sweetheart. You don't seem excited." "I am. I'm just tired." "Did something happen?" "No, sweetheart. Everything's fine." But everything wasn't fine. Melissa spent the night awake, thinking about her conversation with Layla. The next morning, she received a message from Khalid. "I'm at the airport." "I can't wait to hug you both," she replied. "We can't wait either. We love you." But as she typed, she couldn't stop thinking about Layla's words. "My father is dying." At the airport, Aiden was so excited he couldn't stay still. "Mommy, how?" "Much longer? 20 minutes. Feels like forever. It'll go by fast." When Khalid finally appeared, Aiden ran into his arms. "Daddy, you're back." "I am, my little prince." Khalid hugged his son tightly, then turned to Melissa. "Melissa, Khalid." They embraced, but Melissa was tense. "Is everything okay?" he asked. "Yes, just tired." "Daddy, let's go home. We made a cake for you." "Cake? What kind?" "Chocolate, your favorite." "How did you know it was my favorite?" "Because it's everyone's favorite, Ons." The way home, Khalid talked about his last few weeks in the emirate, but avoided mentioning his family. "How's your father?" Melissa asked, testing the waters. "Better. The heart scare was just that, a scare. He's recovered now." Melissa noticed the hesitation in his voice. Did he know more than he was letting on? At home, Aiden showed off all the decorations he'd made. "Daddy, look, I made banners. They're beautiful. And here's a sign, 'Welcome home, Daddy.'" "Thank you, son. This is the most special welcome I've ever had." During dinner, Khalid seemed genuinely happy, but Melissa watched him closely for signs that something was wrong. "Khalid, are you really okay with our arrangement?" "Of course I am. Why do you ask?" "I just want to make sure you're not sacrificing too much." "Melissa, being here with you isn't a sacrifice. It's a blessing. Even with having to split your time, even then." Aiden, who had finished dinner, went to play in the living room, leaving the adults alone. "Khalid, I need to tell you something." "What is it?" "Your sister Layla came to the United States." Khalid dropped his fork. "Layla was here?" "Yes, yesterday." "What did she want?" "To talk to me about you." "About me?" "She wants me to convince you to return to the emirate for good." "Why?" Melissa hesitated. Should she tell him about his father, or let Layla do it? "She said your absence is causing problems for the family." "What kind of problems?" She wasn't specific, just said your father needs you. Khalid grew thoughtful. "Melissa, my father has always needed me, or rather always said he did. It's a way to control me." "What if this time it's true?" "Then he should tell me the truth himself, not send my sister to play mind games." "Khalid, what if something really is wrong with your father? Wouldn't you want to know?" "Of course I would, but I'd also want him to be honest with me. Sometimes people hide things to protect those they love, and sometimes they hide things to manipulate." Melissa realized she wouldn't be able to make Khalid uncover the truth indirectly. "Khalid, I need to tell you something, Layla." "Told me." "What?" "She said your father is very sick, sicker than you imagine." "Sick how?" "Terminally. She said he has at most 2 years to live." Khalid paled. "Why did she tell you and not me?" "Because your father forbade it. He doesn't want you staying out of pity." "And you believe her?" "I don't know, but I thought you should know." Khalid stood up and began pacing the kitchen. "If it's true, I have to go back." "Do you?" "Of course I do. He's my father." "What about Aiden? What about me?" "You can come with me." "Khalid, we've discussed this. Our life is here." "But if my father is dying..." "If your father is dying, you have the right to hear it from him, not from others." "What if he doesn't tell me?" "Then that's his choice." "Melissa, I can't just ignore this." "I'm not asking you to ignore it. I'm asking you to talk to your father directly. What if Layla is lying? Why would she lie about something so serious?" "To make me come back. Even at the risk of you finding out the truth." Khalid stopped pacing and looked at Melissa. "What do you think I should do?" "I think you should call your father right now and ask him directly about his health." "What if he lies?" "Then you'll have to decide who to trust." Khalid picked up the phone. "I'm calling him." It was the middle of the night in the emirate, but Khalid called anyway. "Father, it's me, Khalid. I know it's late, but I need to talk to you. How's your health?" "Father, I want the truth. Layla was in the United States and told me some things." Melissa could only hear one side of the conversation, but from Khalid's expression, she could tell the truth was coming out. "Why didn't you tell me? I had the right to know." "It doesn't matter if you don't want my pity, Father. You're my father. I have the right to be by your side." The call lasted nearly an hour. When Khalid hung up, there were tears in his eyes. "It's true, he has pancreatic cancer. It's advanced." "Oh, Khalid, I'm so sorry." "He said he didn't tell me because he wants me to live my life, not take care of him." "What did you say?" that he doesn't have the right to make that choice for me. And now I don't know what to do. Aiden appeared in the kitchen, rubbing his eyes. Why are you crying? We're not crying, sweetheart, Melissa said quickly. Daddy just has tears in his eyes. Khalid knelt to his son's level. Daddy just got some sad news, little prince. What news? My father, your grandfather from the Emirate, is sick. Really sick? Yes, really sick. Will he get better? Khalid hesitated. We don't know yet, Aiden. So you have to go take care of him. Maybe. For how long? I don't know. Aiden thought for a moment. Daddy, if Grandpa is sick, you have to go take care of him. But what about you and Mommy? We understand when someone in the family is sick, we take care of them. Aiden's maturity surprised both adults. Aiden, that would mean Daddy would be away for a long time. Longer than 6 months, maybe much longer. But would he come back when Grandpa gets better? Khalid and Melissa exchanged glances. How do you explain to a child that sometimes people don't get better? Aiden, Melissa said softly, sometimes when people get very sick, they can't get better. They stay sick forever? Sometimes, yes. And sometimes they go to heaven? Sometimes, yes. Aiden grew thoughtful. So Daddy needs to stay with Grandpa until he goes to heaven? Maybe. And could that take a long time? It could. Months, maybe years. Aiden looked at his father. Daddy, do you want to stay with your daddy? I really do, Aiden. Then you have to go. But I don't want to leave you. You're not leaving me. You'll take care of Grandpa and then come back to take care of me. What if it takes too long? Then I'll wait. Because that's what families do. Khalid hugged his son, moved. You're the most amazing boy in the world, Aiden. I learned from you and Mommy. Melissa watched the scene with a heavy heart. On one hand, she admired Aiden's compassion and maturity. On the other, she knew she was about to lose Khalid again. Khalid, she said, when do you plan to leave? I don't know. I need to think. Is your father waiting for you? He said he doesn't want me to go out of obligation. But do you want to go? I want to be with him in his final moments, but I also don't want to abandon you two. You wouldn't be abandoning us, you'd be fulfilling your duty as a son. And my duty as a father? Aiden just gave you permission to go. And you? Melissa took a moment to answer. I give you permission to. Even knowing it could take years. Even knowing that. Melissa, I love you. I love you both more than anything. We know, and that's why we understand. Khalid spent the night awake trying to make a decision. By morning, he had made up his mind. Melissa, I'm going back to the Emirate. When? Next week. So, soon? Every day counts now. What about us? I want you both to come with me. Khalid, at least to meet my father. For Aiden to meet his grandfather. For how long? A month, just 1 month. Then you come back and I'll stay. Aiden would miss a month of school. I'll talk to the school. Explain the situation. And my job? You can take leave or work remotely. Aiden, who had been listening, jumped with excitement. We're going to see the Emirate? If your mother agrees, yes. Mommy, please. Melissa felt pressured from all sides. I need to think. Of course, but don't take too long. I need to arrange the trip. During the day, Melissa called her parents to explain the situation. Melissa, Margaret said, go with him. Mom, go. Aiden needs to meet his Arab family, and you need to fully understand the life Khalid is leaving behind. What if it's hard to come back? Then you decide there whether you want to return or not. Mom, I can't just move to another country. You're not moving, you're visiting. And my job? Talk to your boss, explain the situation. What if they don't agree? Then you decide what's more important. Richard took the phone. Sweetheart, your mother's right. Go see the reality there. Only then can you make an informed decision. Dad, I'm scared. Scared of what? Of liking it there. of Aiden wanting to stay. And if you do like it, what's the problem? You'd be here alone. Melissa, we want your happiness. If it's in the Emirate, then let it be in the Emirate. Would you visit us? Of course we would. Even though it's so far? Even then. Melissa spoke with her boss, who was understanding. Melissa, you're an exemplary employee. Of course, you can take a month's leave. Thank you, I didn't expect so much understanding. Family comes first, and who knows, you might come back with fresh ideas for our international projects. At Aiden's school, the principal was also supportive. Aiden is an excellent student. A month won't hinder his progress. On the contrary, it could be a very enriching experience. Thank you for understanding. And when you return, Aiden can give a presentation on Arab culture to his classmates. Aiden loved the idea. Mommy, can I take pictures to show everyone? Of course, sweetheart. And can I learn Arabic to teach my friends? We'll see about that. On the eve of the trip, Melissa packed her bags with mixed feelings. It was an adventure, but also a big risk. What if Aiden fell in love with life in the Emirate? What if she herself ended up liking it there? Khalid noticed her worry. Melissa, if you don't like it there, we'll come back immediately. And your father. My father will understand. He wants my happiness too. Are you sure? I am. Besides, it's just a month. Just a month, she repeated, trying to convince herself. At the airport, Melissa's parents said their goodbyes, emotional. Take good care of yourselves, Margaret said, hugging her daughter. We will, Mom. And call us if anything happens. No matter the time. We'll call often. Richard hugged Aiden. Take care of your mom over there, okay? I will, Grandpa. And bring back lots of stories to tell. I will. Grandpa, won't you and Grandma miss us a lot? Of course we will, but we'll also be happy knowing you're having an adventure. During the flight, Aiden asked hundreds of questions about the Emirate. Daddy, are there camels there? Yes. Can I ride a camel? You can. And is there a desert? Lots of desert. Can I play in the sand? Yes, but it's different from beach sand. How? It's hotter, and there's less water around. And are there castles? Yes. Very beautiful palaces. Will we live in a palace? We'll stay at Grandpa's house, which is very big. Bigger than Grandpa and Grandma's house in the United States? Much bigger. Melissa watched Aiden's excitement with a pang of worry. What if he really wanted to stay? Khalid, she whispered, what if Aiden doesn't want to come back? Then we'll talk about it when the time comes. But he has to come back. His life is in the United States. Melissa, let's see how things unfold. Khalid, you promised it would only be a month. And it will be, unless you decide you want to stay longer. I won't decide that. Okay. Then it'll just be a month. But in his voice, Melissa detected a hope that she might change her mind. The Emirate was everything Aiden had imagined, and more. The airport was luxurious, the city was modern and impressive, and Khalid's family home was truly a palace. Wow, Aiden exclaimed when he saw the house. It's just like in the movies. Do you like it? Khalid asked. It's the prettiest house I've ever seen. Khalid's family welcomed them with pomp and circumstance. There were several brothers, sisters-in-law, nieces and nephews, all curious to meet Melissa and Aiden. So this is our new nephew, said Omar, Khalid's older brother. This is Aiden, Khalid said proudly. Aiden hid behind his mother, intimidated by the crowd of people speaking Arabic. It's normal for him to be shy at first, Melissa explained. Of course, it's a lot to take in all at once, said Layla, stepping forward. Melissa, thank you for coming. Thank you for having us. Aiden, would you like to meet your cousins? Layla asked in English. Aiden looked at his mother for permission. Go ahead, sweetheart. Within minutes, Aiden was playing with the Arab children. The language barrier no obstacle to fun. He adapts quickly, Khalid observed. Kids always adapt quickly, Melissa replied, but with a hint of worry. Khalid's father appeared, leaning on a cane. He was an imposing man, even visibly weakened by illness. Father, this is Melissa and Aiden. Welcome to our home, Melissa, and this must be my grandson. Aiden stopped playing and approached shyly. Hi, Grandpa. The man smiled. kneeling with difficulty to be at the boy's height. "Hello, my young prince, you're even more handsome than in the photos. You've seen pictures of me. Your father sent me many. I've kept them all in my room. Can I see? Of course, after dinner I'll show you." During dinner, Melissa observed the family dynamics. There was a lot of love, but also a lot of pressure on Khalid to take on responsibilities. "Khalid," said Omar, "now that you're back, can we talk about expanding the business to Asia?" "Omar, I just got here. Let's talk about work. Later. But it's urgent, the contracts need to be signed. Everything can wait a few days." Melissa noticed that even while ill, Khalid's father observed everything carefully, as if assessing his son's commitment to the family. After dinner, as promised, the grandfather took Aiden to see the photos. "This is you as a baby," he showed Aiden. "How did you get these pictures?" "Your father sent them to me in secret, away from the family." "Why in secret?" "Because sometimes adults complicate things that should be simple." "Like love?" "Exactly, like love." Melissa and Khalid watched them from the bedroom door. "He's a good man," Melissa remarked. "He is. He just got caught up in the family traditions." "And now?" "Now he wants to make the most of the time he has with his grandson." "Khalid, he really looks very ill." "I know. It's hard to see him like this. Do you regret staying away for so long?" "I regret many things, but not finding you." That first week in the Emirate, Aiden adapted incredibly well. He learned a few Arabic words, rode a camel, visited the desert, and saw historic palaces. "Mom, why can't we live here?" he asked one afternoon. "Because our life is in the United States, sweetheart." "But it's fun here too." "It's fun to visit. But living is different." "Why is it different?" "Because here we don't have our friends, our school, our grandparents. But here we have the Arab grandpa and all the uncles." "We do. But don't you miss the American grandparents?" Aiden thought for a moment. "I do, but I like it here too." "And that's okay. You can like both places." "And choose where I want to live when I grow up?" "Maybe." Khalid spent most of his time caring for his father, taking him to doctors, appointments, arranging palliative treatments, or simply talking. "Son," his father said one afternoon, "thank you for coming. I should have come sooner." "No, you came at the right time." "Dad, why didn't you tell me about your illness?" "Because I wanted you to live your life, not stay here out of pity." "It's not pity, it's love." "I know, but I needed to be sure." "Sure of what?" "That you came because you wanted to, not because you felt obligated." "And now you're sure?" "I am. And I'm sure of something else too." "What?" "That you should go back to the United States." "Dad, Khalid, your place is with your family, with Melissa and Aiden. But you need me. I need to know you're happy, and you're happy there." "How can you be sure?" "Because I've seen how you look at Melissa, and I've seen how Aiden thrives when he's with you." "But you're dying." "Exactly, I'm dying, not living. You should be with those who are living." "Dad, I can't just leave you." "You're not leaving. You're choosing to live." In the second week, Melissa began to understand the local culture better. The women of the family welcomed her, taught her traditional dishes, and shared ancient customs. "Melissa," said Amira, Khalid's sister-in-law, "you'd fit in very well here." "Thank you. You've all been so welcoming." "Khalid has been a different man since you came into his life." "How so?" "Happier, lighter. Before, he always seemed to carry the weight of the world on his shoulders. He has many responsibilities here." "He does. But responsibility without joy is just a burden." "And with you, how is he with Aiden?" "He's a wonderful father, natural, affectionate, present. Aiden adores him, and Khalid adores Aiden, talks about him all the time." "Even when you're here in the Emirate?" "Especially when we're here. You've given his life purpose." In the third week, Aiden surprised everyone by asking his grandfather a question in Arabic. "Did he learn that on his own?" the grandfather asked, amazed. "The cousins are teaching," Melissa explained. "He has a knack for languages." "He really does. In 2 weeks, he's already picked up several words." "He's as smart as his father." "And as stubborn as his mother," Khalid added, laughing. The grandfather laughed too, but then began coughing heavily, a constant reminder of his condition. "Grandpa, are you okay?" Aiden asked worriedly. I'm fine, my prince. Just a little tired. Do you want me to sing for you? Grandma Margaret says my voice helps when she's tired. I'd love to hear you sing. Aiden sang an American song he had learned at school. The grandfather listened with emotion, tears streaming down his face. Thank you, Aiden. That was the most beautiful song I've ever heard. That night, Khalid spoke seriously with Melissa. How are you feeling here? Good, your family is wonderful. But I feel like I don't belong here. Why? It's a world very different from mine, Khalid. Too luxurious, too formal. You'd get used to it. Maybe, but I don't know if I want to. And Aiden, how do you think he's handling it? Better than I expected, maybe too well. What do you mean? I'm afraid he won't want to go back. And if he doesn't, he'll have to. His life is in the United States. Melissa, what if his life could be here too? Khalid, don't do this. Do what? Try to convince me to stay. I'm not trying to convince you, I'm just showing you possibilities. Possibilities that aren't realistic for me. Why not? Because I'm not a princess, Khalid. I'm just an ordinary American woman who works for a living. Here, you wouldn't have to work to live. I want to work, I like what I do. You could work here too. Doing what? Anything you wanted. Khalid, you're losing focus. You came to be with your father. We came for a 1-month visit. You're right, I'm sorry. But Melissa realized the seed of the idea had been planted, and that worried her. In the 4th and final week of the visit, Khalid's father's condition visibly worsened. He spent more time in bed, ate little, and spoke with difficulty. Mom, Aiden asked, is Arab Grandpa going to get better? We don't know, sweetheart. He looks really weak. He is. His illness is very serious. Like the sickness that took my goldfish. Similar. So Grandpa might go to heaven too. He might, yes. And Dad will be really sad? He will be very sad. Then we have to take care of him, right? We will, sweetheart. Mom, if Grandpa goes to heaven, will Dad want to stay here forever? Aiden's question touched on the fear Melissa had been trying to ignore. I don't know, love. We'll have to talk about it when the time comes. I don't want Dad to be sad. We don't either. But I also don't want to be far from my American grandparents. I know, it's a hard situation. Mom, is being a kid sometimes hard? Sometimes it is, love. Why can't we make the grown-up decisions? Because grown-up decisions affect a lot of people. It's a big responsibility. And when I grow up, can I decide where I want to live? You will, yes. So for now, I just accept your decisions? For now, yes. Okay, but I want you to know I love all my grandpas. We know, love, and all your grandpas love you too. On the last day of the visit, Khalid's father called Melissa for a private talk. Melissa, thank you for bringing Aiden. Thank you for having us in your home. I want to ask you something. Go ahead. Take care of my son. I always have. No, take care of him when I'm gone. Mr. Hassan, Melissa, my son will want to stay here when I die, out of duty, guilt, tradition. And what do you want me to do? Take him back to the United States, even against his will, especially against his will, because his will is going to be clouded by grief. I can't force Khalid to do anything. You can convince him. You have that influence over him. And if I can't, then my son will waste the life he could have with you. Mr. Hassan, why is this so important to you? Because I made the same mistake with my wife. What do you mean? When she was sick, I became so focused on my duty to care for her that I forgot to live. She died knowing I had sacrificed my happiness, out of obligation. But she was your wife, and Melissa is the woman Khalid loves. Aiden is the son he chose to have in his life. You are his future. And his family here. My family here will continue. Khalid isn't indispensable for that. But he feels indispensable. Exactly. And that's what you need to show him. Isn't true. Melissa grew thoughtful. How can I do that? By showing him his life is with you, not here. And if he doesn't believe it, then you return to the United States and wait for him to realize it himself. And if he never realizes, then at least Aiden will have a mother who prioritized his happiness. The conversation left Melissa even more confused about what to do. At the farewell, it was hard for everyone. Aiden had formed strong bonds with the Arab family, especially with his grandfather. "Grandpa, I'm going to miss you. I'll miss you too, my prince. Will you be okay?" "I'll try. But if I'm not, I want you to know these were the best days of my life." "Why?" "Because I got to know my grandson." "Grandpa, can I come back to visit you?" "Of course you can. Whenever you want. What if you go to heaven before my next visit? Then I'll watch over you from above." Aiden hugged his grandfather tightly. "I love you, Grandpa. I love you too, my little prince." Khalid said goodbye to his father with deep emotion. "Father, I can stay." "No, you must go. But you need me. I need to know you're happy. And you're happy with them. How will I know if you're okay? Layla will keep you updated. And if you need me, then I'll call, but you live your life until I do." "Father..." "Khalid, promise me one thing." "What?" "That you won't waste the life you have with Melissa and Aiden. I promise. And promise me one more thing. Tell me that if I pass, you won't feel guilty." "Father, that's impossible." "Then promise you'll try." "I promise I'll try." On the flight back, Aiden was visibly sad. "Mom, when can we go back?" "I don't know, sweetheart." "Will Arab Grandpa be alone?" "He has his whole family there. But he doesn't have us." "No, he doesn't have us." "That's sad." "Yes, it is, sweetheart." "Mom, why does life have to be complicated?" "I don't know, Aiden. I don't know." Khalid was silent, clearly torn between two worlds. "Khalid," Melissa said, "how are you feeling?" "Confused, sad, grateful." "Grateful?" "That you came with me, that my father got to know Aiden, that I had these days with him." "And why confused?" "Because I don't know where my place is now." "Your place is where you're most needed and happiest. And if those two places are different, then you have to choose which is more important. Melissa, if my father dies, I'll want to go back to be with the family." "I know. And you?" "I'll understand. But I won't wait indefinitely." "What does that mean?" "It means if you choose to stay there, Aiden and I will move on with our lives here." "Without me?" "Without you. Even loving me. Especially because I love you. Because love doesn't hold someone back." Khalid remained thoughtful for the rest of the flight. Back in the United States, readjusting was harder than they expected. Aiden missed the big house, his cousins, his Arab grandfather. "Mom, can I call Arab Grandpa?" "Oh, you can, but remember it's the middle of the night there." "Then can I call tomorrow?" "Yes." "And can I teach Arabic to the American grandpas?" "Of course you can." Richard and Margaret were fascinated by Aiden's stories about the Emirate. "Grandpa, did you know they have cars there that cost more than a house?" "I didn't, grandson. And palaces bigger than our entire building." "Wow, that must be amazing." "It is. But you know what else?" "What?" "Even with all that, I missed you guys every day." Richard got emotional. "And we missed you too." "Grandpa, can I tell you something?" "Of course." "The Arab grandpa is very sick." "I'm so sorry to hear that, Aiden. And Daddy is sad because of it." "It's normal to feel sad when someone we love is sick." "Grandpa, if you got sick, I'd be really sad too." "But we're okay, my grandson." "And will you stay okay for a long time?" "We'll try our best to stay okay for a long time." "Promise?" "I promise we'll take good care of ourselves." Khalid returned to work at the American company he had been with before going to the Emirates, but he was visibly distracted. "Khalid," his boss said, "you seem worried." "I am. My father is very sick." "I'm sorry. Do you need more time to be with him?" "I don't know yet. It depends on how things progress." "Well, you know you can count on us for whatever you need." "Thank you, that means a lot." But Khalid knew that if his father got worse, he'd have to make a tough decision. 2 weeks after returning, Khalid got a call from Layla. "Khalid, it's about Dad." "What happened?" "He got much worse after you left." "What do you mean, worse?" "He's hospitalized. The doctors say it might be a matter of weeks." "I'm coming there." "Khalid, he said he doesn't want you to come." "What do you mean he doesn't want me to?" "He wants you to stay with your family." "Layla, he's my father. And Aiden is your son. I can take care of both. No, Khalid, you can't. If you come now, you won't be able to return in time to be present in Aiden's life. What are you saying? That Dad might take months to pass. And in those months, Aiden will need you here. Layla, I can't just ignore that my father is dying. You're not ignoring it. You're respecting his wish. What wish? The wish for you to be happy. Khalid hung up, troubled. How could he make such a difficult choice? He told Melissa about the call. What do you want to do? She asked. I want to be with my father. Then go. But I want to be with you too. Khalid, you can't be in two places at once. Melissa, come with me. Khalid, no. Why? Because Aiden just readjusted here, because I just got back to work, because our life is here. Even if it's just for a few weeks. You said yourself it could take months. And what if it does? Then you stay there and we stay here at Melissa, please. Khalid, you have to choose. Why do I have to choose? Because life sometimes forces us to choose. That night, Khalid couldn't sleep. He kept thinking about his father's words. Don't waste the life you have with Melissa and Aiden. But how could he not waste the little time left with his father? The next morning, Aiden asked, Daddy, are you traveling again? Maybe, little prince. Because of the Arab grandpa? Yes. Is he sicker? He is. And you want to be with him? I really do. Then go. Aiden, if I go, it might take a while to come back. How long? I don't know. Maybe months. Aiden thought for a moment. Daddy, can I tell you something? Of course. When I was in the Emirate, I really missed the American grandparents. I know. But I knew they were okay here. That's why I could enjoy my time there. And what does that have to do with now? If you go take care of the Arab, Grandpa, I'll miss you. But I'll know you're doing the right thing. Aiden, do you understand I might be away for a long time? I do, but I also understand you need to take care of your dad. And what about you? Will you be okay without me? I'm going to miss you, but Mommy will take care of me. And my American grandparents too. Are you sure? I am. Daddy, when someone in the family is sick, we take care of them, right? Right, so you have to go. And if the Arab grandpa, if he goes to heaven, then you come back home, to us. Aiden, you're the wisest boy I know. I learn from you and Mommy to do what's right. I love you so much, little prince. I love you too, Daddy. Khalid spoke to Melissa about the conversation he'd had with Aiden. He really said that, she asked. He did, and I think he's right. Khalid, you need to be sure about your decision. I'm sure I need to be with my father in his final moments. And after? Then I'll come back to you. For good. How can I be sure of that? Because you and Aiden are my family. My father will pass, but you'll stay. And if your family there pressures you to stay, then I'll come back anyway. Even if they disown you? Even if they disown me? Khalid, are you absolutely sure about this? Melissa, when I was in the Emirate, do you know what I missed the most? What? Your goodnight kisses. Aiden's laughter. The smell of American coffee in the morning. The silly arguments we have about which movie to watch. Those are small things. It's the small things that make life worth living. And there in the Emirate, isn't there anything you miss? There is. I miss my culture, my language, the food from my childhood. But it's nostalgic longing, not a need. What's the difference? A need is what you require to live. Nostalgia is what you remember fondly. And are we a need? You're essential. You're the reason I wake up every day wanting to be a better person. Melissa was moved by his words. Khalid, if you're really sure, I am. Then go. Stay with your father as long as you need. And you? We'll be here when you come back, even if it takes months. Even if it takes months. Melissa, I love you. I love you too. And that's why I'm letting you go. Khalid left a week later. The goodbye was emotional but not desperate. There was a mutual understanding that it was the right thing to do. Daddy, Aiden said at the airport, take good care of the Arab grandpa. I will. And take good care of yourself too. So I will. And don't forget about us. I could never forget you. Daddy, when you come back, can I still call you Daddy? Always, little prince. Always. Over the next 2 months, Khalid sent daily updates. His father was stable, but fragile. There were good days and bad days. Aiden handled his father's absence well, but clearly missed him. "Mummy, when is Daddy coming back?" "When the Arab grandpa gets better, or when he goes to heaven. And if he takes a long time to go to heaven, then Daddy takes longer to come back. But he'll come back, right? He promised he would." "And do you believe him?" "I do. I believe him too." Dear listener, if you're enjoying the story, take a moment to like and especially subscribe to the channel. It helps us a lot as we're just starting out. Now continuing. By the 3rd month, the updates grew more concerning. Khalid's father was permanently hospitalized, and the doctors spoke in terms of weeks. "Melissa," Khalid said in a call, "I don't know how much longer he has. How are you holding up? It's hard to see him fading. But I'm also grateful to be here. And how's the pressure from your family to stay? Constant, but it doesn't change my decision. Khalid, if you need to stay longer, I won't need to. When my father passes, I'll come back immediately. Even if your family needs you. The family that needs me is in the United States, Ma. Are you sure?" "Completely." A week later, Khalid called in the middle of the night. "Melissa, my father is gone." "Oh, Khalid. I'm so sorry. It was peaceful. I was sleeping, and how are you?" "Sad, but at peace. I got to say goodbye to him." "And now?" "Now I go back home." "When?" "After the funeral in 3 days. Is your family trying to convince you to stay?" "Yes, but my decision is made." "Khalid, if you feel you should stay..." "Melissa, stop. My place is with you." "Are you sure?" "I've never been more sure of anything in my life." "We love you, Khalid. I love you too, more than anything." When Khalid returned from the funeral, he was different. More mature, more decisive, more at peace with himself. "How was it?" Melissa asked. "Hard. My family did everything to convince me to stay." "And what did you say?" "That my father taught me family isn't just blood, it's a choice. And I chose you." "How did they react? They didn't like it, but they respected it." "What about the family business?" "Omar will take over everything. He always wanted that anyway." "You don't regret it?" "Regret what?" "Giving up that whole life." "Melissa, that life was never mine. It was the life they expected me to live." "And now?" "Now I'll live the life I choose." "What life is that?" "A simple life, with the woman I love and the son I chose to have." "What if you miss it later? Then I'll visit, but my home is here." Aiden was overjoyed to have his father back for good. "Daddy, you won't travel anymore. I'll travel to go on trips with you, but I won't travel to be away. Promise, I promise. And we'll be a family forever? Forever." "Daddy, is Grandpa Arab happy in heaven?" "I'm sure he is." "And does he know you came back to us?" "He knows, and he's proud of my decision." "How do..." "You know, because before he left, he told me I'd only be happy if I was happy." "And are you happy, Daddy?" "I'm the happiest man in the world." 2 weeks after Khalid's permanent return, they had an unexpected visitor. It was Layla, who had come to the United States to talk to her brother in person. "Khalid, I came to try convincing you one last time. Layla, my decision is made. The family needs you. The family has Omar, has you, has other siblings. But you're the son Dad prepared the most for the business, and Omar is the son who always wanted to lead. Let him have that chance. Khalid, you're throwing away an empire. I'm building a family. You can have both. I can't, and I don't want to." Layla looked at Melissa. "Melissa, don't you think you're being selfish?" "How so?" "Keeping Khalid away from his family." "Layla, I never kept Khalid away from anything. All the decisions were his, but you have influence over him, and I use that influence to support the decisions he makes, not to manipulate him. Even knowing he's giving up a fortune, especially because of that, if he's willing to give up a fortune for us, it's because he truly loves us." Layla turned to Aiden. "Aiden, wouldn't you like to be a real prince?" "I already am a prince," Aiden replied. "How so?" "I'm the prince of Daddy and Mommy's hearts. That's the most important kind of prince." Aiden's answer, left Layla speechless. "Khalid," she finally said, "if you change your mind, I won't. The door will always be open. Thank you, but I won't need it." After Layla left, Khalid hugged his family. "Thank you for supporting me." "We'll always support you," Melissa said, "even when I make hard decisions, especially when you make hard decisions." 6 months later, Khalid and Melissa got married in a simple ceremony, attended by Melissa's parents, some close friends, and of course Aiden. "Mommy, are you really married now?" Aiden asked after the ceremony. "Yes, sweetheart." "And do I have a real daddy?" "You always had a real daddy," Khalid answered. "Now it's just official." "What does official mean?" "It means everyone knows we're a family." "Everyone already knew, right?" "It's true, but now it's on paper too." "What paper?" "The paper that says I'm your father forever. Even if you guys fight, even if we fight, even if I misbehave, especially if you misbehave." Aiden laughed. "So I can misbehave?" "You can misbehave a little," Melissa said, laughing, "but in moderation." A year after the wedding, Aiden asked something that surprised his parents. "Mommy, Daddy, can I have a little brother?" "Why do you want a little brother?" Melissa asked. "Because in the Emirate all my cousins have siblings and it seems fun." "What if it's a little sister?" "Even better, I can teach her Portuguese." Khalid and Melissa exchanged a glance, smiling. "Well, Aiden," Khalid said, "maybe you'll get that wish." "Really? Maybe. When?" "These things take time, sweetheart," Melissa explained. "How long?" "A few months." "Can I help pick the name?" "You can be part of the decision." "Great. I already have a name if it's a boy." "What?" "Hassan, like my Arab grandpa." Khalid was moved. "That would be a beautiful tribute." "And if it's a girl?" "Margaret, like my American grandma." "Aiden," Melissa said, touched, "you want to honor both grandparents?" "Of course, they're part of our story." 9 months later, Sophia Hassan Miller Al-Mansour was born, a beautiful little girl who forever united the two cultures in their family. "Daddy," Aiden said, holding his baby sister in his arms. "She's perfect." "Yes, she is, my son." "And now are we a complete family?" "Now we're a complete family." Aiden looked at his parents. "Thank you for giving me such a cool family." "Thank you for being the most amazing son in the world," Khalid replied. "And thank you for understanding that real love sometimes means letting people make their own choices," Melissa added. "That's what Grandma Margaret taught me," Aiden said. "That true love sets free, it doesn't trap." "Your grandma is very wise." "Yes, she is. And now Sophia will learn that too. She'll learn it from you, who's going to be the best big brother in the world. I'll teach her Portuguese and Arabic. And lots of love," Melissa said, "especially love." 5 years later, the family had settled into a happy, stable routine. Khalid had become a partner at an import company. Aiden was in elementary school and spoke fluent Portuguese and Arabic, and Sophia was starting to say her first words in both languages. "Daddy," Aiden said one afternoon, "do you ever regret coming to the United States?" "Never." "Why?" "Because sometimes I think about what you left behind." "Aiden, do you know what I left behind?" "A life as a prince." "No. I left behind a life that wasn't mine. And I gained a life I chose." "What's the difference?" "The difference is that in a chosen life, you wake up every day happy to be where you are. And you wake up happy. Every single day. Even when Sophia cries in the middle of the night. Especially when she cries in the middle of the night." "Why?" "Because it reminds me she's my daughter, that you're my son, that your mom is my wife, and that I got to build all of this because I made the right choices." "Daddy?" "Yes?" "When I grow up, I want to be just like you." "How so?" "Brave enough to make the right choices, even when they're hard." "Aiden, you're already brave. You were brave at 7 when you gave me permission to take care of your Arab grandpa." "I remember that. You understood something many adults don't." "What?" "That sometimes loving means letting go, and sometimes it means fighting to stay." "And how do you know which is which?" "By listening to your heart. The heart always knows the difference. My heart says you made the right choice." Mine too. At that moment, Sophia came running and jumped into her father's lap. "Daddy, Baba," she said, mixing Portuguese and Arabic. "Hi, my little princess. Aiden, play with me." "Of course, Sophia. Let's play family." "How do you play family?" "Let's pretend we're a happy family." "But we already are a happy family," Aiden laughed. "That's true, so let's play at being even happier." Melissa watched the scene from the kitchen door, her heart full of gratitude. All the struggles, all the fears, all the uncertainties had been worth it. Khalid noticed her gaze. "What are you thinking about?" "How funny life is." "Why?" 10 years ago, I was a single mother trying to raise Aiden alone. Now we're a complete family. Do you regret anything?" "I regret taking so long to believe that true love can overcome any obstacle." "And now you believe it?" "Completely. Even knowing we might still face difficulties. Especially because of that. Because I know we'll face them together." Aiden approached his parents. "Mom, Dad, can I say something serious?" "Of course, sweetheart. Thank you for showing me that family isn't just who you're born with. It's who chooses to stay together." "Aiden," Khalid said, moved. "Where did you learn that?" "By watching you. You chose us. Mom chose to accept you back. I chose to accept you as my dad. And Sophia, even though she's a baby, chooses to love us every day." "You're right," Melissa said. "Family is a choice we make every day. And will you keep choosing me?" "Forever," Khalid and Melissa said together. "Even when I grow up and want to make my own choices, especially when you grow up and want to make your own choices." "What if I choose to live in the Emirate when I'm older?" "Then we'll visit you there," Melissa said. "What if I choose to live in another country?" "We'll visit you there too." "What if I choose to stay here in the United States?" "Then we'll celebrate because it means you love the life we've built here." Aiden smiled. "I do love the life we've built here, but I also love knowing I have choices." "Choices are important," Khalid said. "But what's more important is having people who love you no matter what choices you make." "Like you love me?" "Exactly." Sophia, who had been quietly listening, suddenly said, "Love, family, love." Everyone laughed. "Sophia summed it all up," Aiden said. "She really did," Melissa agreed. "Mom," Aiden said, "can I ask you something?" "Of course. Are you happy?" "I'm very happy, sweetheart. Even with all the struggles we've been through?" "Especially because of them. The struggles made us stronger. And more united. Much more united." "Dad," Aiden turned to Khalid, "are you happy?" "I'm the happiest man in the world." "Why?" "Because I have everything I've ever wanted. A family who loves me. Even though you're not as rich as you were in the Emirate?" "Aiden, wealth isn't about having a lot of money. Wealth is about having a lot of love." "And do we have a lot of love?" "We have enough love to fill the whole world." Sophia clapped her hands. "Love, love, love." "Sophia approves," Aiden laughed. That night, after the children were asleep, Khalid and Melissa talked about the future. "Khalid, what do you imagine?" "For us 10 years from now. I imagine Aiden as a teenager, Sophia speaking English and Arabic perfectly, you even more beautiful, and me even more in love with you. And professionally, I hope to have expanded the business, maybe open branches in other states." "No international expansion?" "Melissa, my international life ended when I chose to stay in the United States. You'll never miss it? The culture, the food, the language? Yes. The life I had there? Never. Even if your family offers for you to go back, especially if they offer, because it would mean they still don't understand my choice was final. What if Aiden wants to learn more about Arab culture? Then I'll teach him here. I'll cook Arab dishes, talk about history, maybe take him to visit when he's older. And Sophia? Sophia will grow up knowing she has 2 cultures, and you get to choose how much you want of each." "Khalid?" "Yes?" "Thank you." "For what?" "For fighting for us, for choosing to stay, for showing me that love can overcome any obstacle. Melissa, you fought too. You also chose to believe in us, but you made the bigger sacrifice." "It wasn't a sacrifice, it was liberation." "How so?" I freed myself from a life that wasn't mine to live a life that's completely my own. And you've never regretted it? Never. And do you know why? Why? Because when I wake up in the morning and see you beside me, when I see Aiden and Sophia running through the house, when I smell that American coffee, I remember that every choice I made brought me exactly where I wanted to be. Where did you want to be? Home, in my true home, which is where? Wherever you all are. Melissa moved closer to him. Khalid? Yes? I love you. I love you too. Forever. Forever. And so, 10 years after the reunion, that changed their lives, Khalid, Melissa, Aiden, and Sophia lived as proof that true love really can overcome any obstacle. They had faced cultural differences, family pressures, geographic distances, illnesses, grief, and uncertainties. But, with every challenge, they emerged stronger and more united. Aiden grew up knowing he had two cultures, but only one family. Sophia grew up speaking two languages, but expressing just one feeling: love. Melissa learned that sometimes love is worth taking risks for, and Khalid discovered that true wealth isn't in what you possess, but in who you choose to love. They, family that began with a secret, became an example that when choices are made with the heart, the ending is always happy. The end of the story. And now, dear listeners, we've reached the end of this moving journey of love, family, and difficult choices. Melissa and Khalid showed us that true love crosses borders, cultures, and obstacles. Aiden taught us that wisdom has no age, and that family is who we choose to love. Do you think Khalid made the right decision by choosing to stay in the United States? How would you react if you were in Melissa's place? Share your thoughts with us in the comments. We love reading each one. Don't forget to like this story if it touched your heart, and most importantly, subscribe to the channel so you don't miss other heartfelt stories like this one. Until next time.